And welcome to Timcast IRL on this Friday night. I am your guest host, Nick Sortor, today live from the Timcast studio and not a Portland jail cell, luckily. And welcome to Timcast IRL on this... Not my fault there already, just letting everybody know. So I'm an independent reporter, spent a lot of time covering government corruption and cover-ups and riots and disasters. And I really appreciate the offer to be here today. And so just wanted to before we jump into the stories here, talk about Cast Brew Coffee. Lots of new options here. This is what's been keeping me going all day. Hasn't been a lot of sleep over the past 10 days here. Lots of new options here. Hazelnut, the Alex Stein. I don't know how great Alex Stein tastes, but I'm sure the coffee tastes better than he does. 2 times the caffeine. That makes total sense, actually, for Alex Stein. You can get that in K-Cups, grounds, or beans, actually. And then you have on Saturday, which is next Saturday, October 18th, the Culture War live podcast in Washington, D.C. I have been there before. The place fills up fast, so make sure you get your tickets here soon. You got Brian Shapiro, Emily Wilson, Tim Pool, Alex Stein, Myron Gaines, dating in the modern age. And just based on this panel, I have a feeling they're probably going to stray from the topic just a little bit, but you guys can make your own inference on that. But we have an awesome guest here tonight. I was really excited when I heard that he was going to be the guest. Alex Rosen of the Predator Poachers. Alex, welcome to the show. Tell us a bit about you.
Thank you all for having me for the second time. It's been 2 years. We are here at the Timcast Studios, the new one, and it's a pleasure to be here. And I'm very excited.
Sweet. Awesome.
Hey, man. Ian Crossland in the house. I've been doing this for a long time. Happy to be here. Started making internet videos in 2006. I see the power of internet video, the way it can scale outward. So let's scale tonight. Tate Brown in the house.
What's up, Patriots? Tate Brown here holding it down. Been here all week holding it out for Tim Pool for the noon live show. All those interviews are on the Culture War channel. So if you missed it, head on over there, Tim Pool, the Culture War channel, and check out all the great interviews. We had a spicy one yesterday. So Phil's here.
Hello, everybody. My name is Phil Labonte. I'm the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains. I'm an anti-communist and a counter-revolutionary. Let's get into it.
All right. Great panel tonight. Love it. These are great guys. And, the first one, biggest story of the day, we were talking a lot about this before, and I actually decided I was going to buy a bunch of Bitcoin before the show started after watching this. Wall Street tumbles to its worst day since April after Trump threatens more tariffs on China. I know Bitcoin is also down about, 6 or 7%. And it's a great buying opportunity, in my opinion. You don't have to take that advice, but that's just me. Alex, are the panicans just panicking again? Is that what's going on here?
Well, I think Trump has a very obvious playbook with all of this stuff. I don't think there's actually going to be tariffs on China, and if there is, it's not going to last too long. It's very obvious that every couple months he just likes to threaten it. He likes to drop the market. I mean, the smart people following this, I think, are very lucky. I mean, this is a great buying opportunity. I certainly bought some today. And, every couple months he kind of announces something, everything drops, people buy it up, and then it goes back up, and it's kind of just a cycle that I think is going to go on for the next 3 years. So I'm excited about it. I don't think there's going to be any tariffs on China.
Yeah, well, it seems like the S&P sank 2.7% and the Nasdaq's down 3.6% because I believe what Trump said was he was going to add another 100% the tariffs on top of China. And but I don't know. I mean, Phil, I know you've had this argument a lot. Like, are the tariffs working? Has the strategy worked? Were the experts wrong about the situation?
So it's my opinion that because there hasn't been a significant increase in prices, prices have gone up a little bit, but there's still some inflation in the economy. I think largely the tariffs have worked. Mostly, I guess, if I understand correctly, not that I'm an economist, but mostly it's been essentially a return to zero because of the difference between the dollar and other currencies. Again, I'm not an economist, so don't quote me. I could be wrong, but it does seem like for the most part there hasn't been the significant increase in prices. Anytime there's big negative news, which Donald Trump talking about 100% tariff on China, that would be received as big negative news. There are people that are going to be day traders or whatever. They're going to sell some. But you said it was a 2% dip. Was the overall dip?
Well, it depends on the
Nasdaq.
The Nasdaq had 3.8%.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a few percent. And to be honest with you, so you're talking about a handful of percent. And like right now, like the stock market has been hitting all-time highs every couple days. So if it dips a little bit, if this is not the end of the world, people shouldn't be concerned. People shouldn't be worried. It's just a little bit of a correction. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if come Monday there's even more of a correction. But again, that's not a reason to sell all your stocks and light your hair on fire. It's at all-time highs. There's a small correction, and it's possible that
that's the time to buy, man. I mean, you need that little
exactly.
correction every once in a while. But Trump actually brought this up in the Oval Office today.
Besides, software could be on the table in terms of export controls.
A lot more. I mean, you have software, but you have a lot more. We have airplanes. We have airplane parts. You remember that from last time. And we were just surprised at China. I have a very good relationship with President Xi, and they did that. This is not something that I, instigated. This was just a response to something that they did. And they didn't really aim it at us. They aimed it at the whole world. The whole world is subject to it. So I thought it was very, very bad. But we have many things, including a big thing is airplane. They have a lot of Boeing planes, and they need parts and lots of things like that.
So he's talking about China announcing, I think it was today or yesterday, that they're going to be increasing their outgoing costs on rare earth minerals.
Correct.
Okay. Well, that's, I guess, what you get with a tariff war. I've noticed my coconut water that I normally buy at $30 is like $40, and that Olipop's went from $21 to $28.
It's probably because of inflation, though, not because of a tariff.
It was a huge jolt, though. It was a real extreme 30% increase in cost, and it was just on those two products I've noticed so far. But the one was like a week ago, the coconut water, or 2 weeks ago, and the Olipop was about 4 months ago.
Are they made in China?
I don't know. I don't know if the metals or if there's some shipping involved in the tariffing. I mean, the economy cannot grow forever. I don't think economies ever have grown forever. They go until they fall apart. And with the U.S. inflation now at $37 trillion, I posted today, I think what's going to happen what's that? The national debt. Yeah, the national debt's at $37.5 trillion or something and counting. What'll happen if we don't increase the value of our GDP is that there will be a hyperinflation like Weimar Germany saw, and that people left holding the cryptocurrency will be the ones with actual value, and it'll become like a debt slave society.
Yeah, let the speculators sweat. I mean, if they can't handle a structural reset where Trump's trying to like rug pull cheap foreign labor, like that's on them. This is why he dubbed the term panicking, because the Wall Street debt pyramid can't handle these structural resets, and it's like, so be it. I'd say let them panic.
And your point about the growth, right? That's what's kept inflation in check for the past 15 or so years, or since 2008 when they had went down to 0% interest rates after the housing bubble, is the fact that there was growth. Every time there was a threat of a reset in the stock market, the Fed would talk about raising interest rates, the stock market would react, and then they'd go ahead and they wouldn't raise interest rates, and then the stock market would continue to grow. As long as you've got growth in the economy, our economy is big enough where, to be honest with you, the $37 trillion can be handled. It's too much, and they need to do something about the spending, but it's not going to be an existential crisis. But if we don't have that growth, if they don't have pro-American, pro-growth policies, then you're going to have serious problems with the economy.
And there's two ways you can get growth. You can either literally increase the value of the things that you're making, or you can reduce the cost that it requires to get those things made. And so AI is going to basically subvert slave labor. We're going to be able to compete with Chinese slave labor with the automation of sectors of our economy. And then obviously I harp on the fuel, like we can, reinvigorate our fuel economy by introducing hydrogen and petroleum hybrid states. And then you can get the hydrogen at like, I don't know, a 50th of the cost of petroleum. So that would then reduce the cost going in, and then therefore the GDP would be higher. That would be another way to start. It'd still say $37 trillion on paper, but the value of the dollar would be worth so much more because it could buy so much more because things are so much cheaper that it wouldn't really matter. The number itself doesn't really matter. It's more about the ratio.
Yeah, so I want to read this truth for some context here, just because I'd rather read it from what Trump is saying rather than read it from what AP says Trump says. It has just been learned that China has taken an extraordinarily aggressive position on trade in sending an extremely hostile letter to the world, stating that they were going to, effective November 1st, impose large-scale export controls on virtually every product they make, and some not even made by them. This affects all countries without exception, and was obviously a plan devised by them years ago. It is absolutely unheard of in international trade and a moral disgrace in dealing with other nations. based on the fact that China has taken this unprecedented position and speaking only for the USA and not other nations who were similarly threatened, starting November 1st, 2025, or sooner, depending on any further actions or changes taken by China, the United States of America will impose a tariff of 100% on China, over and above any tariff that they are currently paying. Also on November 1st, we will impose export controls on any and all critical software. It is impossible to believe that China would have taken such an action, but they have, and the rest is history. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald J. Trump of the United States of America. Ian, a lot of these things that President Trump, back in his first term, he put tariffs on China, right, which were widely criticized by the Democrats. But Joe Biden came into office and then kept those tariffs, right? So I mean, it seems like they're working. I mean, I don't know how high that number can possibly get. You think Trump keeps up with this? Do you think he actually follows through with this, or do you think he backs down?
He might do it. I don't know if he'll keep it held, though. The Chinese are ultimately our potentially greatest trade partner, whether you agree with their government style or not. And I think they want Taiwan, and they're going to wait for the United States to migrate its chip production offshore back onto the mainland so that there's no war when they take it from us. But this pressure that it's built through economic tariffing, I was going to call it economic disaster. It's like big dick swinging. Like they got, that's what they got. They don't want to fight, so they're pushing each other's economy around. It's tough to say whether it'll stick or not. I can't take another 34% increase in the coconut water that I'm buying. I tell you that much.
Oh, the humanity.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
No one feels bad for you.
I need to get healthy, man. Don't make it hard, Don. So
no one feels
at some point they'll come back down. I just don't know.
No,
if it's
there's no guarantee they're coming back down.
It's a new paradigm in the second term. I mean, it's really funny, first of all, to outline that for the longest time, the Democrats were the pro-tariff party and the Republicans were the anti-tariff party. So you've had this reorientation just under Trump, where now the Democrats are like all of a sudden these like free market absolutists, and the Republican Party is like, hey, tariffs. Trump called himself Tariff Man famously. And even between the first term and the second term is a massive difference. Like the first term, I think it was Larry Kudlow is like his economic advisor, huge booster. And he was like, look, whatever you want about Trump, whatever you like about Trump, one thing you have to admit is he like brings in this rock star economy. And what he was referring to was the GDP constantly going up. Well, now Trump's kind of taken this new posture in the second term of like, hey, reshoring manufacturing is actually going to take like a tariff regime. There's just no way around it. So these GDP must go up. People are like panicking because they're like, wait, no, we were promised this rock star economy. And what they mean by that is as GDP goes up, whether that means mass immigration has to be part of this implementation, if free trade, no tariffs is part of that. And it's like, Trump's like, no, America first. And you're going to have to implement some of these policies to get that done.
I don't think that it's realistic to think that there's going to be massive onshoring of jobs that have left. Right. I think that Trump is aware of that as well. And as for the need for immigration to cover those jobs, I think automation is going to cover that within the next 5 years. I just saw a video today from, I forget the company, but we're a year or two away from humanoid robots being available in homes to do things like do your dishes and fold your laundry.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're probably available. There's companies that's putting them out right now, but I think it's only a couple of years before the average family is like, oh, $24,000, so $4,000 down and $500 a month for 48 months, and then I don't have to do laundry or the dishes ever again. Hell yeah, I don't need a second car. We need a robot. Because that's really what'll happen. Is it'll be, the banks will love it because they'll finance that. The thing is an actual physical product in the world, so it's not like a student loan where or credit card stuff where there's nothing, there's nothing that's considered collateral, so you could repo the robot. In fact, to be honest with you, if you want the robot back, they could probably just send a message to the Wi-Fi, and the robot just walks the hell out of your house, to repo it. So that kind of stuff is in the cards in the very near future. And I think that the productivity that we need to handle the debt that we have and hopefully bring it down some is totally realistic in a without mass immigration.
Yeah, well, no, you're totally right too. Is like, unfortunately, I think we need to kind of maybe not give up, but kind of get a bit more realistic. Like, hey, we're not going to get these manufacturing jobs back in like Dearborn or Flint. Like that's just not going to happen. But when these jobs are reshoring, they are going to red states. They're going to South Carolina. They're going to Tennessee, Alabama, these sorts of things. And so it's like, okay, reshoring is not going to look like this revitalization of all these Rust Belt towns like we initially maybe hoped or wanted. But these jobs still will come back. And then like you were saying, it's going to be new technologies really that are going to drive sort of the retooling of our manufacturing base, because we are like, heavily dependent on services. And if we want to compete with China, you're going to actually have to start building stuff in the United States, and we're going to have to embrace a lot of these new technologies.
You can actually, the way they've figured out at Rice University how to create the graphene by electrocuting carbon. They get the hydrogen gas, they get this bulk graphene powder. You can put it into the bitumen in the roads, and the roads last like 6 times longer. So not only are you reducing the cost of upkeeping the roads, you're producing a better quality product. So it's these kinds of reindustrializations. I mean, the carbon industry, the way you can turn coal and oil into graphene and use it for computational machinery, you can use it for lighter than steel buildings, stronger than steel buildings. It really is. We're prepped. Like a lot of times you'll see like countries that are you would consider third world, when they finally get to the main stage, they just adopt whatever technology is right now. They don't go through the process of like, well, let's get the horse and buggy and then let's develop an automobile. They just go right to solar panels and like Wi-Fi. And so we're about to see a reindustrialization along those lines of just modern AI optimization.
Right.
And it'll probably happen within like 15 years.
Yeah, you see companies like Foxconn and stuff in China that have just totally. I think they got rid of like 60,000 jobs to have like AI robots replace them. Essentially, like the robots are going to be doing all the work, and like I think that's a good thing because now we don't have slave labor going on with like these suicide nets to catch people that are tired of doing this insane monotonous job. So it's going to change, like you said. What you're talking about is like a rebuilding, essentially, of like usually have like a war and you rebuild from scratch. Here, what we're going to be doing is revitalizing, like you said, building like the U.S. has the means and the ability to revitalize things like our roads. We have the need to, like our roads, our bridges, all of our public works and stuff like that with this new concrete that you're talking about, with the ability to maybe even put solar and all these things in places where we maybe need it. Like we were in Phoenix the other day. Putting solar on all those roofs would be something that we should be doing, not like relying on energy generation via hydroelectric power in the desert. That's crazy. So I think you're right. I think that's what people are also missing about this too, is that like everything's going to shift in a different way. It's not going to be like the jobs they're missing. Like you said, we already rely on service in this economy. There's just going to have to be a reimagination. It's going to have to happen sooner than later because it's going to be affecting the entire world
Nick,
at large.
If you want, I just tagged you on X with a comment underneath the post of it's basically Figure is the company, and it goes through the robots just sitting there. It's Figure_robot on X if you want to find a Serge. And it goes through, a demonstration.
You put on his page?
I just tweeted at him, so I didn't put it on his page.
Go to Phil's page and hit replies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it goes through. I mean, the robot is currently doing things like, unloading the dishwasher, folding your clothes, taking care of the groceries and stuff like that. Right there.
Cleaning the cat's litter box.
Probably.
Don't have to get near that toxoplasmosis.
No.
This one?
Yeah, that's the one. Jump to like halfway through so you can see the.
Oh, okay.
Because it's all like checked out.
Oh, look at that guy.
Yeah, but I mean, it's now. This is functional now. Like this isn't in the future. This is something that's possible now. And people that say, oh, this is still a long way away. Remember, your Tesla that can drive, that's AI. And the technology that this is built on is based on things like the ability to navigate intersections with, Sirius, with a bunch of cars coming. I mean, my Tesla has no problem doing rotaries. Most people I know get stumped at a rotary, and my Tesla can handle it perfectly fine.
Yeah, and one of the things that people would always say is that trades are going to be safe from AI, like HVAC technicians, electricians and stuff. I mean, you look at this, Phil. Do you think that this is a real threat in the near future to jobs like that?
Maybe, and the reason I say maybe is because I don't know how dexterous these things are going to be and how
that's one of the most
they're
difficult parts is making the hands actually.
Yeah, and look, I mean, these things can learn anything from a download, right? So they'll know how to do that stuff. I imagine they might be an assistant with a human watching over them at first, but I think within the next 10 years they'll be able to do anything that a human can do. Remember, and the reason why they're making them humanoid is because we live in a human-shaped world, right? Everything that we design is built for us. So maybe you don't have an electric car that has AI in it, but you have a regular car. Well, you buy one of those, and then you can send it to the grocery store, and it'll do it for you. It'll get in your car, drive your car, because it knows how to do everything that all the other AIs know how to do. And that's really the difference right now is having the ability to navigate the world that we live in. But they're making humanoid shapes because we live in a human-shaped world.
And they're actually developing magnetic slime robots. I'm looking at it right now. soft robots made of polyvinyl alcohol, borax, and neodymium magnet particles. So that, like, you want it to clean your HVAC, you send the amoeba up in that, and it just slimes through there, cleaning every aspect of it for you. And it'll be able to go into your plumbing and like clean out your pipes for you, and you'll be able to control it or not. You know, it'll control itself. Depends on the system.
Yeah. What was that article that everybody was making fun of that said that by the year 2025 humans would be
women would be having more sex with robots than with humans.
We still have 2 months. We still have 2 months.
Still have 2 months.
Yeah.
It's looking like we're pretty close now. I don't know if I would have sex with that thing, but you know.
To be fair, like realistically, like the massager is technically a robot, so they probably already are.
I mean, dude, okay, yeah. Spend a little time alone at the Roomba and see how you feel, you know? These things happen. Sometimes things get a little wacky and wild. I don't know.
You know, ethically, Alex, I'll ask you, since you spent a lot of time hunting down, I guess, pedophiles in your life, if someone that had identified as a pedophile decided, no, I'm going to get a small child-like robot and do that, are you okay with that transition?
Well, you know, I do believe in thought crimes when it comes to pedophilia, because I think anybody that will do it on a has that thought will do it on a kid, because the thing is with that, it's not really just them getting their rocks off specifically. They like the dominance aspect of it. Like, they like controlling another human being. So if it's just AI porn or some kid robot, it's just not enough for them. And they're always going to go on to the next thing. So I think giving them an inch with any pedophilic tendencies is always going to lead in a bad direction. I mean, shit, we caught a guy just this past month, Brandon Creason, in Center, Texas. He came into the Sting house. He got naked. He was wearing a furry mask. He was into baby porn. He was into his youngest infants and toddlers. He's trading it around. Very, very into child molestation, and he had a little sex doll that was like infant size, like I guess kid size, not infant sized. So it wasn't enough to satiate himself. He got in a 2-hour Uber ride and came into the Sting house and is now going to spend probably the next couple decades in prison. So
thank goodness.
Yeah. So no, there's no with those people, it's a whole different thing, and I think. I think giving it to incels as well, just giving adult sex dolls to them, I don't know if that'll satiate them either. I think human connection, there's nothing that can replace that.
Yeah, well, we'll get into this next story here in a second, but I do want to mention the fact that, you know, you're here for not just for the show, but you were here making a catch, weren't you?
Yeah, earlier today we were in Augusta County, Virginia. We got a sex offender arrested named Jasper Morris, who's currently has 28 years over his head on a suspended sentence for a very similar crime. So he violated probation today, obviously, and got charged with 6 felonies from our evidence. And he's going to go to prison for, I estimate, probably over 30 years this time around. So
some people, like when we talk about pornography, people think of it as like some people might think of it as an outlet. Other people might think of it as just making the problem worse, like sexual deviancy worse. Do you have a take on porn and what it does to the human?
Kind of just gave it.
Psyche?
Well, dude, I think it is worse, because I don't know if more child molestation goes down per capita as it did back then. It probably does, but you know, with the internet now, it gives pedophiles a 24/7 window to offend. Versus back in the day, you know, you're shunned. You're like, I have these feelings. Maybe I should hold it down. Maybe I shouldn't do this. But with the internet, you're 2 clicks away from finding a forum of all these people who agree with you, of all these people who also want to do the same thing. So it normalizes it for you and makes it okay in their minds. So I think pornography is a horrible path towards that. And if it was up to me, I'd ban it all.
Yeah. So. We've had this conversation, or at least I have, over the past 10 days about police departments and their willingness to arrest people and not arrest people and such. Like, what's your experience been dealing with some of these police departments? I mean, I feel like maybe the FBI and local sheriff's departments and stuff should be handling a lot of the work that you're doing, but they're not. Why is that?
Well, you know, I would say a lot of them are doing it. It's just there's so many pedophiles that we've done hundreds of these over the past 6 years, and maybe 10 of them have had a concurrent police investigation with it, with the cops already being on them. So there's just too many of them. But yeah, you know, and the cops have to worry about a lot of other shenanigans from a lot of other people nowadays too. So it sucks. But I wish there was more money into this or more time into this, but there's not. So.
Yeah, but in these deep blue districts, say these, if you're going into districts with like Soros DAs and such, do you have problems actually getting these people prosecuted?
Oh, 100%. You know, we have 2 arrests in my home county of Harris County, where Houston is, and that's all Soros out. You know, we had a guy in Houston, Luke Bolin, a couple years ago, and he was willing to drive to Amarillo, Texas, which is a red area, and that's 9 hours away in the Panhandle. And I'm like, all right, screw it. I live in Amarillo. So instead of getting him 30 minutes from my house, I got him 9 hours away from home just to get him prosecuted. And he's doing 5 years right now in Texas. So
yeah. So typically when you call the police over, this is very interesting. And because it's you do great work, man. I'm just letting you know. I'm a big fan of the stuff that you do. I actually binge watched you the other day on YouTube, which is interesting. But but some of these times you can have the raw evidence in front of you, and you show the cops, and they still won't make the arrest.
Oh, it's baffling. I don't know what it is with sex crimes and cops' ego sometimes. Like, if I had evidence of a guy robbing a store and I had him on camera admitting that he robbed the store, the cops will be like, that's God's work, son. We're going to give you an award for this. But when it comes to, like, pedophilia, some cops are like, no, you're not law enforcement. We can't take this evidence. So I don't understand it. But most cops are good, I'd say. So...
Yeah, well, it's typically it ends up being the DA's out of the problem. I mean, some of these cops just won't make arrests because they don't think that they can actually, get any get the person prosecuted.
Yeah. There's a lot of problem DAs in the country for sure.
But why not the that's one of the things that I've wondered for the longest time. What is stopping police departments from? Dude, you are like constantly catching people everywhere. It's a nonstop business.
Yeah.
So what are they doing wrong? Has anybody ever asked you for help? Any police department come to you and been like, "Hey, can you help us?"
There's been a few, but it's been mostly smaller counties. Like earlier this year, Crowley County, Colorado. We did a guy there. God, I forgot his name. He was actually. God, I forgot that idiot's name. But basically, he was kind of plugged to us to go investigate, and within a few days, he ends up meeting for sex in Ordway, Colorado, with who he thinks is a 13-year-old girl. Because there's been accusations on him before, so they accepted our help pretty willingly. So shout out to Crowley County, Colorado. Very small county though, but any really big cities, they have not reached out to us for help. No.
Yeah, very public things should be done to these people. But anyway, we'll move on for the time being to the next story of the day. Pentagon agrees to host Qatari F-15 fighter jets and pilots at Idaho Air Base. And there have been some meltdowns over this today, that is for sure. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth announced Friday that the Pentagon has agreed to host a new Qatari Air Force facility in Idaho, saying that the nation has played a, quote, core part in securing the Gaza peace deal. Now, there have been some people online that have said that possibly the Qataris are going to come to this air base and use F-15s to bomb us or carry out some sort of terrorist attack or whatever. Is that, Ian, what do you think? Is that likely? Is that ridiculous?
It's quite a jump to assume that would be the outcome, but I think Hegseth came out and tweeted that it's not a Qatari military base. So it's very confusing the way Fox reported it, saying that it's going to be. They didn't specifically say a Qatari military base, but maybe.
Well, actually, Fox did. They said Pentagon approves new Qatari air base in Idaho, which is very misleading because that's not at all what this is. So, do we have that tweet up? Yes, we do actually. Perfect. Yeah. So Pete Hegseth saying the U.S. military has a long-standing partnership with Qatar, including today's announced cooperation with F-15QA aircraft. However, to be clear, Qatar will not have their own base in the United States, nor anything like a base. We control the existing base like we do with all partners. And I believe this has been done with about 70 other countries at this point. So this isn't weird.
I went to high school in the same area near Mountain Home Air Base, and we had the Singaporean armed forces there with their planes as well. It's happened with other countries before. I think it's happened with Germany, et cetera. Other countries we have a relationship with. So it's not like an unprecedented thing. I think just because it's Qatar and they're like everyone has these other accusations about Qatar right now that it's a big story.
Yeah, and they just bought these planes from us as well.
Mm-hmm. This is how you globalize. This is how the liberal economic order is attempting to globalize. It's by fortifying relations between countries in the Middle East, countries anywhere on Earth, and then giving them a piece of the pie by giving them some space in the United States to operate. So, we're sort of tied now. If one of our countries gets hit, we both get hit.
If I understand correctly, this is only for the for training, though. For training, because they're buying the F-15s and they're bringing their people over here. They get training here, and then the F-15s and the people will go back to Qatar.
I got to say, then Fox wildly mishandled this reporting, because I only read just the early parts of that story, but it seemed like they were blatantly saying that Qatar is setting up a military base in Idaho. I'd love to get some nuance. And to what exactly is it? Is it just going to be an American base that's
just
leased?
a facility? Yeah. It's not even that. It's just a building on the base. That's it. So that they can train the Qatari pilots on these F-15s. Why Fox did it this way? And they didn't even update their story, which is a little bit concerning here, because it's even from the beginning, this was taken wildly out of context. If you just listen to what Pete Hegseth said, he clearly didn't say that they were putting a Qatari air base in Idaho. So
what's the Qatar connection here? Because I've been hearing a lot about it. Someone said Tucker Carlson. I think Laura Loomer was calling Tucker, and that stuck with my head. I'm like, I like Tucker, but
Qatar spends a lot of money trying to influence American politics. So,
and are they allied with Israel?
not particularly.
They're weird. They're kind of mediators between the Shia and Sunni world at the moment.
Oh, well,
Well, they were the mediators of this peace deal that's
Yeah.
unfolding right now in the Middle
We're
East.
trying to pull the Gulf states into our orbit, so that's what this move is. I mean, this isn't handing out influence for free. This is still on our terms, these sorts of things. But Qatar's like had their own position between the Saudis and the Iranians. They're trying to kind of be that mediator, that middle ground.
Yeah, like all the countries in the Middle East, they all have their own agendas. And sometimes they're at odds, sometimes they're not. But like it's not a situation where like the Middle East is just like a blanket kind of opinion because they're in the Middle East and they happen to be all Muslims. Like, you know, there's a lot of different countries with different agendas, and they all work towards their own, towards results that best fill those agendas. So,
And I highly doubt that these, for the people that are saying that Qatar is going to use these F-15s on our soil to attack us, these aren't armed F-15s. So unless they're going to be, running them into things, then I'm not really sure what that attack vector is.
it's like the people that were like, Jade Helm is going to be the government taking
well,
over.
saying that now we're now a Muslim nation. We're now occupied by Muslims, and I feel there is a problem, right? I mean, I think Dearborn, Michigan, is a pretty good example of that. East Plano, Texas, is becoming an issue, and then Minnesota is now Somalia, a Somali colony. But I'm not sure that this really does anything to further a Muslim takeover in the United States.
I mean, the Saudis have a similar arrangement. Like, I went to high school in San Antonio. They're at Lackland. They have like pilot training there. I think there was a shooting in like 2019, and it was a Saudi trainee in Pensacola that did it. So it's like, yeah, this idea that this is like unprecedented is just crazy. Like Singapore has a similar arrangement. I think at the same base in Idaho and Mountain Home. Like, this is like a very normal thing, but since it's Qatar, it's red meat for a lot of people, a lot of panicans. Unfortunately, there's a lot of these folks. But this is not going to usher in Sharia law or anything.
It's really interesting in the comments section here, which I'm reading as we're live. We're being accused both of taking money from Qatar and Israel in the same segment. So this is we are really raking it in, guys. Way to go!
Stacking money.
Yeah.
Qatar is it? I'm not sure if it's Qatar. I don't know. I say Qatar. I like how that
Doesn't matter.
sounds. They were under Ottoman rule till the British took them over in 1916, and then they got independence in 1971. They're under a monarchy at the moment, so it sounds very similar to the Saudi arrangement that we have. We're allied with them because it's geopolitically sound, but not necessarily because we agree with their government style or anything like that. But they obviously have the British influence from the last 100
Yeah, I mean, look
years,
at the strikes that took out the Hamas leaders. They struck in Qatar. The Hamas leaders were living in Qatar for a long time, so they don't like I said, they have their own agendas. They're not like doing whatever the U.S. says or not doing whatever the U.S. says. They have their own, they have agency. They have their own agenda, and they're going to do things that are best for them.
Yeah, I mean, well, they run Al Jazeera, and Al Jazeera was very critical of obviously the global war on terror, and they were the mediator. Like every time, Bin Laden would make a statement or something, he would run it through Al Jazeera, and Al Jazeera is the state network of Qatar, like their BBC, effectively. So.
It was good. That was a good resource in 2013. Al Jazeera was a great way to find out what was really happening in Syria. So props to them for holding up that opposition media.
I don't think Al Jazeera is even that bad. I'll probably get flack for that take. It's just they will not be critical of Qatar. Like during the World Cup, they were like, "Oh, someone fell off the scaffolding. Really weird. Yeah, it must be an idiot." Like,
what happened with this peace deal? This is another. I don't know if we're going to talk about this story tonight. Yesterday, Trump apparently solved the Middle East, and then today, Netanyahu was like, "No, we're not done. We're still at war. We're still going to have troops." Did you guys catch any of that?
No.
But didn't the Israeli Knesset vote to approve the peace deal? So is Netanyahu going against that now? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe.
See, here's the problem. I focus on the United States.
Yeah.
That's the issue that I care about. I don't care about any of this other stuff. I truly don't. I'll let other people take care of it. But I mean, I love his shirt over here. It's fantastic. I don't know if anybody's seen it yet here.
We've had
They got you.
We've had what, 3 Israel shows or 2 Israel shows this week? I don't think that we need another one.
Yeah, the war on terror, it's more just a war for geopolitical dominance, like the liberal economic order versus whatever else is left, which is, BRICS, which is flailing because Russians and Chinese aren't like that tight. The Indians obviously are super they love the United States, apparently, according to Modi, their president. And like, how do you do it? Do you let Israel be the attack dog and like wipe out an area over there so that we have this nasty nuclear, bulwark to then kind of make sure that the Iranians don't go haywire with their Sharia law and nuclear weaponry? Oh, man.
It's just it's a dance that Trump is really. I mean, he's a great negotiator. Obviously, this is a dance you have to play. Is like Qatar has their own agenda, sure, but they have to play ball with us.
Sure, yeah.
And then likewise, we can maybe sweeten the deal a little bit because like obviously the Abraham Accords are a priority of the Trump administration, and Qatar is the linchpin of that. And so yeah, I mean, this is a way you can play ball without surrendering sovereignty, and it's a huge departure from Biden, obviously, who would just basically give up influence with no strings attached. So.
Yeah. Well, I thought we were done talking about this stuff, but apparently not, because they haven't learned. Trevor Noah, who really has never been funny, that's why he got fired from The Daily Show, coming out and attempting to make jokes now, saying that it's funny that Charlie Kirk was shot while defending the Second Amendment. I'll let you guys listen to this, and you tell me how funny you think this is.
Meanwhile, here, comedians are shitting themselves. Don't say anything about Charlie Kirk. I wasn't going to say anything about... Yeah, but don't say anything about Charlie... I wasn't going to say anything about Charlie Kirk, but don't. There's nothing funny about it. Oh, now you tested me. I mean, there's nothing funny about it? You can't say there's nothing funny about it. No, there's nothing fun. No, don't say that, because as a comedian, I'll be like, I'm sure there's something funny about it. The guy was shot while defending guns. Do you understand how... I'm not even writing that as a joke. As a human, you have to admit that is an incongruous, funny thing that happens. You are there, you're like on stage, and you're like, let me tell you why people should have guns. Wapa!
Yeah, I'm failing to find the humor in all of this, Alex. I don't know which part of that was funny.
I mean, it's kind of ironic, but I mean, I don't find it that funny. But, what I find funny is how everybody around Charlie Kirk is acting very weird about the whole thing. I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess his friends don't really agree on what happened. Like, Candace Owens saying one thing, all of his friends are saying another thing. And I thought that whole memorial was very strange in Arizona. I found the pyro weird. Obviously, everybody mourns differently, but that's the thing I find funny about it. People acting funny around.
I mean, I know Charlie freaking loved those pyros. I was just being totally honest with you. But I think one of the issues with that whole thing is out there. I don't think they, and this is just my personal opinion on it. I think you're right. I don't think they agree on the official.
I mean, I don't think Tyler Robinson killed him. I think whoever shot that shot did that on purpose when Charlie was talking about that. But I mean, I really think, and I'm saying this as a Jew, man, not like that really holds any more weight. But I really think he was starting to turn on Israel. I mean, you saw Harrison Smith's tweet a few weeks ago before that whole thing happened, saying that Charlie kind of fears for his life and that someone close to him talked about Charlie fearing for his life. I mean, I think it's a very real thing. And, I know Charlie didn't really turn against Israel per se, but I think he was definitely on that trajectory. And I think I think this guy, and the reason they don't kill Nick Fuentes or someone like that is because they already have their niche. That's already what they are. But Charlie Kirk, my mom knows about Charlie Kirk. She's not even that political. My girlfriend's mom knows about Charlie Kirk. He's on every single boomer screen in a kitchen table, on their phone, on Facebook. And I think if he started to turn against Israel, the average normie would just be so against it now. And I think that's why he was taken out. I know I'm kind of deviating from the subject here, but that's my 2 cents on it.
I don't see the evidence of that. Like, him saying he feared for his life is sort of like, how many times I've hung out with Tim Pool and he's told me he fears for his life. Like,
right.
That doesn't, and it would have been a coincidence if something had happened. You'd be like, oh, he's been talking about it for 2 years, bro. Like, let it up. Like, he actually felt it for a long time. And Charlie was probably going through something. I just see zero evidence for anything other than that guy Tyler shot him on the roof and then tried to escape with his dad's gun.
Well, from what I don't understand is, he has a 4'1" gun and with skinny jeans, and he's walking up the stairs, bending his legs. They say he hit it in his pant leg. Is that like the official story?
I don't know. I thought it was disassembled. Did he disassemble it and reassemble it? I don't know.
I have no clue. It's just nothing really makes sense. And then him not even going to Utah State University. He knows exactly which building to go on. It just seems so planned. Like, I don't think he worked alone on it at all. If he is the one that pulled the trigger, I think he certainly had help.
Tyler Robinson, I don't think he definitely didn't work alone. I mean, you had this you're probably quite familiar with these like trans Discord groups.
Right.
And they were saying the day before, like, hey, something big's going to happen tomorrow. Here's a cause for celebration. So I look at that and I look at like, who would have more of an incentive to kill Charlie Kirk? Would it be Israel because he's like vaguely critical of like Jewish donors? Apparently, evidently.
Yeah.
Or would it be trans people who like feel directly, threatened by his rhetoric, which is his rhetoric is just like, hey, maybe you shouldn't like castrate yourself.
Oh, but yeah, no, both have definitely a motive to do it, I think. But what throws me off and that we really haven't had an answer on is that guy, George Zinn, who's just like the decoy saying, I did it. I mean, I get it.
Apparently now he's saying he was paid for the distraction. I don't know if that's true or there's any evidence.
Yeah, it's just that is such quick thinking for that guy to just be at that event, have no foreknowledge of it happening. You just see a guy shot. I mean, most people would be so shocked, like, what the fuck is going on? Yep. But he instantly notices or starts saying, it's me, it's me, it's me. I mean, we haven't had an answer on that guy. Then them finding child porn on his phone is ridiculous. But like, I don't know. I think I don't think Tyler Robinson and George Zinn knew each other. I don't think some old 71-year-old pedo knows this 22-year-old tranny. But I think they were working for the same people. So I don't know. I mean, no theory makes full sense. But we really haven't had an answer on that guy.
I think
yet.
like if there were a situation where there was Israeli interests that wanted to take out someone that was reorienting the right in an anti-Israel direction, Charlie Kirk would be very far down that list.
Well, I don't think so, because he is the guy that everybody on the right knows. Like, my grandma or my aunt doesn't know about Nick Fuentes, but they know about Charlie Kirk. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows him. He's like the mainstream conservative.
I understand that, but I'm saying like as far as people that have mainstream appeal and that are tastemakers, there's people that have been far more explicit. And I mean, Charlie Kirk publicly was very pro-Israel.
Yeah.
There's people on the right that have, I would say, equal mainstream appeal that have had much more poignant sort of critiques of Israel. And even if that were the case, I don't think that would be cause for Israel to want to take them out. I just think it would be really sloppy.
Who do you think it was? Who do you think has that?
I mean, like someone like Tucker Carlson. I mean, Tucker Carlson has huge mainstream appeal.
Yeah.
And he would be someone that if you were, trying to keep a lid on right-wing discourse, that would be someone that you would view as much more of a threat than Charlie Kirk. What I'm trying to say is that I really don't find it difficult to believe that the leftists broadly viewed Charlie Kirk as this huge threat and that they'd want to take him out because I mean that's what he did. Charlie Kirk, like you're saying, he came into the mainstream, he occupied it and reoriented it.
Yeah.
And that's a huge threat if you're like a schizo leftist. I mean, like, yeah, you would view this guy as, enemy number one.
The only difference I'd see is that Tucker Carlson never really had a lot of Israeli or Jewish donors or people backing him like that. But Charlie Kirk, I mean, at TPUSA events, I've heard from people that have gone to those, tons of rabbis there, tons of Jewish and Israeli donors that have helped Charlie Kirk out. So I don't know if it's them. I don't know if it could be them being offended at the betrayal of it, we're giving all this guy all this money, but then he's saying this about us now. I have no idea, but I think both are plausible.
In regards,
honestly, I just think like, I think it makes a lot of sense that it would be Tyler Robinson. I mean, we have like the investigation. It seems all things are pointing towards him. And like I said, I mean, I think my hesitancy to sort of embrace this skepticism is because it really does feel like, I'm not saying you, but there is a lot of people that seem almost anxious to like let the left off the hook here. It's
right.
Like, it seems like he's suspect number one. Obviously, there's gonna be an investigation. He'll go to court, innocent until proven guilty. But there seems to be this tendency from a lot of people sort of on the more like fringe right that just want to let the left off the hook here.
Well, it's the left's reaction to it, where it shouldn't even matter who actually killed. I mean, it does matter, but when it comes to the left, it shouldn't matter who killed Charlie Kirk. Their reaction to it, celebrating like freaking banshees that he died. I mean, I knew they wanted all of us dead at first, the left, but I think a lot of normies need to realize that the left, I think, does want a lot of us dead. I mean, even when we've had pedos, take care of their own business and save the taxpayers' money, if y'all catch my drift, we've had 4 pedos that we've caught that have just not made it to court due to their own actions of ceasing to exist. Even in that case, I mean, I'm not mad at it. I'm not sad at it. I'm not mourning them. But even then, I'm still not celebrating like a freaking banshee. I'm not like dancing on their grave saying, yeah, it's another one. It's still a human life, but, I'm glad they're gone, but I'm not, going crazy. But the left going crazy at Charlie Kirk dying, I mean, whether it's Israel, whether it's the trans mafia or whoever, dude, I think it's very telling with them now, and I think the normies need to realize that.
It's this weird phenomenon of like people living in the internet where you can talk crap about somebody and it's like they're a computer video game. Their response is just in text. It's just more data. And
I mean, you saw today that the DOJ actually tracked down and arrested somebody that sent a death threat to Benny Johnson's house. I'm hoping that they keep this stuff up because you know what? I'm sure you get death threats constantly too.
Sometimes
to your inbox or whatever, even if it's just a DM on Twitter and stuff. And I mean, the swattings that happened to a bunch of conservatives earlier this year. I mean, I was one of them, and we never heard anything about it. And they actually reached out to me recently, the FBI and actually Bondi, about that, about tracking these people down. So I'm hoping that we're actually now getting serious about putting an end to this, because it's being glorified. These assassinations all over the place, and they're laughing about it, and they're joking about it, and they're mocking it, and they're making these people martyrs. Like, it all started with that Luigi Mangione guy up there in New York.
So the show that you guys did this morning, The Culture War, I can't emphasize strongly enough. Everybody should watch that at some point this weekend. The Culture War this morning had Nick was on, Libby Emmons was the host, Andy Ngo was on, James Klug was on, and
Richard McGinnis.
Yeah, Richie McGinnis was on.
Richie.
And they went through a lot of what Antifa does when it comes to financing, the organizations that are above board organizations that actually help finance them and funnel money to Antifa. It goes through what kind of people are the people on the ground, which, as we all know, they're the people that are, they're homeless people, they're people that don't have a lot to lose, because if you're out there, actually fighting with cops, you're not going to be the lawyer that's going to be fighting with the cops. You're going to be people that are, again, don't have a lot to lose. They're homeless or somehow mentally ill or that kind of thing. People that are looking for a reason to get into a scuffle with the cops, people that are down on their luck. But it's really important because we need an all angles strategy for taking care of this. Not only the stuff that Nick was just saying, but also, the people on the ground need to get wrapped up. The government needs to use every single legitimate lever of power at their disposal to put as much pressure as the federal government can, and that is a lot, to put as much pressure as the federal government can on Antifa and the connected groups, all the NGOs, the network of lawyers. There's it's extremely deep, and they went into the details today. You should all watch The Culture War from this morning, and you should get in touch with your representatives and let them know that you want legislation that will empower the federal government to do things. You want the president to be able to attack these organizations in every single legal way they can.
Posted this video. You actually retweeted it, Phil, about I think what Antifa's goals are is to evoke a fascist violent crackdown, so that then they'll be able to rally community support to their cause and be like, look, they really are fascists. We've been telling you for 15 years. Look, see? So like going after swattings, using every legal possible means to go after the foot soldiers. If it spirals into what people perceive as a fascist crackdown, then Antifa gets their communist their momentum, because the community will come rally. And so we have to be aware. This is Saul's rules for radicals, Saul Alinsky, that their action is their opponent's response. They want this to become violent.
That's why I focus so much on it has to be lawful. It has to be within the realm of what the government has the legal authority to do. You cannot allow this stuff to fester. The reason that we have the problems that we do with Antifa and the left is because in 2016 and 2017 and 2018, the Trump administration didn't have the courage to actually put these organizations down.
I do agree that escalating, the force to rectify the situation is essentially called for. But when you look at saying just because it's legal, it's okay, you have to go back to look at what Mussolini was doing. They'll make laws that are unethical, and then they'll be like, hey, it's legal. And then is it ethical still, though? Will it make a communist
All
response?
of the things that Antifa does are unethical. The entire way the organization operates, they lie about what they're doing. They say that they're peaceful protesters while they're initiating violence against not just the ICE agents and federal agents, but they're initiating violence against people like Nick. They're initiating violence against people like Andy. They beat the absolute shit out of Andy. They smashed Katie Davenport in the face with a pole, blackened her face. They are absolutely going to say that they are legal and that they are just peaceful and stuff, and they're going to have a whole network of lawyers that are going to defend them, but they do everything they can to lie about it and to beat the absolute shit out of people that don't go along. That can no longer be allowed.
They blame you because they say that speech is actually violence, so they're actually just defending themselves. That's one of the arguments that they make pretty routinely.
Yeah, they'll be unethical, and they'll make you tell you you're the villain, and they'll keep doing it until they can get you to respond unethically, and then they'll highlight it and get their crowd to be like, oh, you were right the whole time. So
it's called DARVO, deny, attack, reverse, victim, and offender. So they do things to incite you, And then when you actually do something that is lawful in response, they will deny that they did anything, and they will say that they're the victims and you are the aggressor. This is typical of people that are abusive in abusive relationships. It's an emotional manipulation technique, and it's something that Antifa and people on the left do consistently. And your point is well taken. That's why I retweeted the thing that you said. That is what their goal is. But that doesn't mean that we're forced to say, palms up, dude, can't do nothing about it. We have to take these people off the streets and put them in jail. So that way because to leave them out in public is to actually harm the peaceful people and the normal people in America.
So in order to succeed, if there was going to be like a violent government response, and it doesn't have to be violent in the sense that they're breaking brains open, but they're just grabbing people, putting them in like force. Is it up to people like us, people that are communicating, to let the public know this is rational? This is actually, it might seem horrible, but it's not psycho, and so that there isn't a communist revolution response?
I think it is, and that's part of the reason why I'm very careful about the way that I articulate what I want to see. I want the federal government to use every legal means at its disposal. I want them to act in a professional and legal way, but I do think that it's perfectly legitimate for them to use force, because if you don't, you're gonna end up with regular Americans saying, well, the government doesn't do anything, they don't protect me, and eventually it will be regular Americans versus Antifa, and that's the last thing you want.
I agree about using force, but everything legal concerns me, because as far as I know, the president can issue a drone strike on an American building and kill Antifa inside, even with civilians.
The president can't do that in the United States.
Are you sure he has the drone strike?
So whether or not the president will is a different question.
But assuming it's legal,
it is not legal for the president to do that kind of stuff in the United States. Right?
I don't know. I think it is. If there's terrorists,
it's not. No, it's not. That's why Barack Obama actually was never used drone strikes outside of the U.S. Inside of the U.S., it's always been a situation of we use the FBI or what have you, law enforcement, to pick up terrorists. There's never been a time where the federal government. Now, I know you're thinking about Philadelphia when the Philadelphia police dropped the bomb on that
and I'm
that
just
block.
Thinking about Israel using the Samson option, but
that's not in the U.S. That's not in the U.S. We're talking about inside the U.S. Right? There has never been a time where the president or the federal government has used military strikes like that. They've used the National Guard for peacekeeping and stuff, but they've never had a military strike. It is illegal. And of course, the president, it's possible that a president could change the law, or they could try and change the law. But as of right now, and historically, there's never been a strike from a drone in the United States by the federal government.
So we kind of veered a little bit off, but I want to kind of steer it back to what we were talking about, like these, we've seen comedians glorifying this stuff and leftist commentators and such glorifying Charlie Kirk's assassination, joking about it, whatever they're doing. But now we've me and Serge had this conversation last night about how it's like the United States is becoming a powder keg, where it's just getting worse and worse and worse, and there's this pent up hatred and anger, especially on the left.
Yep.
And now you've got Abigail Spanberger, who is the front runner for governor in Virginia, refusing to pull her endorsement from Jay Jones, who's running for attorney general in Virginia, after he, justified political assassinations. And this video right here by that the Post Millennial posted earlier today is shocking to say the least.
Ms. Spanberger, we just want to clarify, what you're saying is that as of now, you still endorse Jay Jones as Attorney General.
I'm saying as of now, it's up to every voter to make their own individual decision. I am running for governor. I am accountable for the words that I say, for the acts that I take, for the policies that I have put out.
Thank you.
I am responsible for the policies I put out and the work I will endeavor to do tirelessly for the people of Virginia.
Thank you.
She could not condemn this candidate for, justifying political assassinations and actually saying that they're a good thing sometimes, because people need that personal impact. That's where we are, man.
Yeah, her being CIA too spooks the stuff out of me, no pun intended. But, you know, I hate to kind of go back to the point because I know you said we're deviating on it. But, Ian, you know, when you have people like Abigail Spanberger not giving a shit that Jay Jones brutally described how he wants his political opponent's kids to die, I don't really think it matters what we do to Antifa, dude. I mean, it's literally an info war. It is up to us to kind of like explain that, hey, it's okay to take them and throw them in the jail and, you know, kind of rough them up a little bit because, dude, the other side literally just fantasize about killing our children. You know what I'm saying, dude? So it doesn't really matter. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, I think everybody has their opinion on Antifa at this point. Like, if you're still a normie on the Antifa issue, then I don't know, just get left behind, bro. I think everybody else kind of has their opinion, and it's either us or them, dude.
Well, it can always get worse. No matter how bad it is, it can get
worse. It might have to get worse. It might have to.
But it doesn't have to get worse. It can get worse, and even as bad as it seems, seeing like, well, forget it, doesn't even matter anyway, could make it much, much worse. So you do have to care about what your government does.
Well, yeah, we'll get some context here too, just for the people that don't understand what these text messages actually are. I mean, you're reading these things, and this is like clearly somebody that was on his side at one point that this Jay Jones guy was venting to, talking about going to the funerals and pissing on the graves of his political opponents, and it's disturbing. It's disturbing. I mean, talking about children here as well. And at what point? I mean, is your average run-of-the-mill voter like? Let's ask Ian here. Ian, you know, are regular people looking at this and are they disgusted by it?
Yes.
I mean, is this not going to severely hurt Democrats across the country?
It's going to hurt this guy's chance at getting into office. Regular people look at the Charlie Kirk assassination and are disgusted and are terrified. And the same thing with this stuff.
I think it would hurt his chances too because, you know, McAuliffe lost McAuliffe lost the governor race because he just said that, you know, parents shouldn't really have a say in kids' education. And I think that's way more extreme than that. And I know we're a little bit more, the left's a little bit more far gone now than they were 4 years ago. But I mean, if Virginia governor can lose just for saying a comment like about kids' education, I think this guy's not going to win the election. I think Miyares is going to win. And, I hope he does because Virginia is our favorite state to catch pedos in. And I don't want this. I don't want this limp wrist download to change that for us.
Alex, I hope you're right.
Me too.
But the polls don't show that. There has not been a significant dip after these texts have come out. There is still the same support. I forget the Abigail Spanberger. She refused to disavow. A lot of national Democrats have refused to disavow. There have been a handful that have said, you know, this is terrible and blah, blah, blah. But there's still so many that have not. And you look at the response to the response to Charlie Kirk's murder. That is how the average Democrat kind of feels.
No.
That's what I say.
Not average Democrat, dude.
That guy is the average Democrat. That's the problem.
This
Like,
psycho?
No, he's more left masquerading as an
Sorry to
average.
interrupt.
well, I'm saying, but that's how a lot of these guys are. And it's like if you could take a look at their text messages following, you're going to see some really, really grim stuff. And I agree. Like, I'm not talking about your median sensible liberal, but the problem is they're not in control of the Democrat Party anymore. It's driven by the activists. And it's like, unfortunately, the base, there's a lot of those text messages. This is the one that just got leaked. But there's all kinds of conversations that look like that happening.
You can look at how, like, there was more that happened in this debate than just that on this topic. Like, this super uncomfortable moment that happened where this moment of silence did happen where Abigail just looked frazzled because it's like her leftist advisors are telling her not to condemn it. Don't condemn it. And she wants to, seemingly, but can't. I mean, any rational human would want to condemn it. And it's worth watching this just for context here.
Would it take him pulling the trigger? Is that what would do it? And then you would say he needs to get out of the race? Abigail, you have nothing to say? Abigail, what if he said it about your 3 children? Is that when you would say he should get out of the race, Abigail? You're running to be governor.
Ms. Earl Sears.
I mean, we're talking about murder. We're talking about someone's life being taken from them.
You can just, she's so
Have
smug,
you nothing
dude.
to say about
Pisses me off.
Yeah.
Are you not going to address it? Really, you can't go any further. You're a governor. You're supposed to stand up for all the people. Are you saying political murder is all right? Have some political courage. What you have done is you are taking political calculations about your future as governor. Well, as governor, you have to make hard choices, and that means telling Jay Jones to leave the race.
I mean, this needs to just play on loop for the next several weeks. People are looking at that, and I've watched this 4 or 5 times now, and it makes me uncomfortable to watch it, knowing that they can't. I mean, this is a pretty simple thing to condemn.
Yeah.
I mean, Winsome Sears is a bad woman. Like, she is great. She is great at her job. She is no nonsense. She's aggressive, like you see in those. So I think that kind of speaks to the way that, like, her temperament and the way that she takes on her opponents. But yeah, I mean, how hard is it to say, yes, I disavow this and he should step down? Because that's what should happen. Think about it like this. Every conservative, every Republican that lives in Virginia is likely to be treated unfairly by that guy if he's the AG.
Oh, absolutely.
You can't that. No Republican or conservative could trust that him as an AG actually will not treat them as if they're a second-class citizen.
Look at this smirk. That's the one you were talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, golly.
She gives me PTSD.
And like you said, she is a former CIA agent. Pretty open about that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can definitely tell. That makes a lot of sense.
To be honest, she has that like biting HR lady smirk. That's just, like, this phenotype of woman has terrorized me my entire life. She was your teachers, was your like college advisor. She was your HR lady. It's just like this lady right here. Just been at every turn, just cucking me.
She seems to be doing what you would do in court if she was under duress. She would just plead the fifth and say nothing. But now she's on TV. Everyone gets to watch her uncomfortable, distancing from the question. Obviously, she's got mixed feelings about what she should do versus what she's going to do. That's the most insane part of it. When she says, what if it was your own kids that he's threatening to shoot? And then you can see her just change, and she's like, realizes how horrible it is. And then she's like, I was told not to respond. If I say anything, the Republicans will win the election. Donald Trump is bad. I can't.
Yeah, and we talked about this a little bit last night, actually. The AOC wing of the party seems to be in total control over a lot of these people at this point because she's moved them so far left. She's a fundraising machine, pulls in a hell of a lot of money, and that's one of the reasons that I'd argue that the government is actually shut down right now because, she would if she ran against Chuck Schumer, she'd probably win. I'm just saying, in New York. Yeah,
absolutely. And like you said, the reason that Chuck Schumer is not allowing or is preventing Democrats or telling Democrats not to vote to restart the government is because he wants to look like he is a leader and he's strong because AOC is thinking about primarying him. And if she primaries him, she's probably going to win. And if you primary the minority leader in the Senate and you win, like, that is a massive boost. She'll probably be looked at as the leader, whether or not she actually becomes the minority leader or the leader of the Democrats. If you primary the leader of the Democrats and you win, people are going to be like, all right, well, it looks like she's in charge now. And if she's in charge now, that means that the far left is going to have way more influence. I was talking to a friend of mine that used to be a staffer for Shaheen. And she says that up on the Hill right now, everybody sees this. The Democrats are using AOC as a means to reach the far left because they think that AOC has the far left's ear. And there are people that think will criticize AOC on the far left and say that she works with the establishment too much. But the establishment looks at her and sees someone that can court the far left. And if they're looking at her like that, they will support her. And she will be in a leadership position.
Oh, beyond that, I mean, even like Zoran, you've seen the establishment get behind, where it's moved from. I agree with your analysis, but I think it's moved beyond like, oh, this is just like a siphon to like siphon off that leftist activist energy. I think they're kind of realizing they just have to play ball. Like if they want to win elections, they have to play ball.
Oh yeah, totally.
So it's like, I think it's beyond that. I think it's just like this is probably the most safe representative of the far left because I mean, like I said earlier, even Zoran, they all were like, oh, I endorse Zoran, he's great. Yeah,
well, not only that, Hochul endorsed Zoran hoping that Zoran would give her an endorsement too.
It didn't happen.
And he didn't.
Yeah,
he's just like, and the reason that's just a swing your dick play, right? Like he didn't have to endorse her. Hochul, the governor, endorses Zoran hoping for something for reciprocity, and then he's just like, I don't need Hochul. That is a big dick move.
And it screwed her over because now Stefanik is looking great in the polls. Like we could end up with a situation where we have a Republican governor of New York and Zoran as mayor. would be absolutely hilarious. And yeah, part of that was Stefanik is just XP farming on Hochul because like the New Yorkers upstate New Yorkers view her as in cahoots with Zoran, even though Zoran's not playing ball with her. It's like a total disaster for Hochul.
The Iranians, and before the revolution in '79, the king of Iran, the Shah, he decided he was going to play ball with the radicals of his society, which were the radical Islamists. And he thought, if I can get their support, then that will guarantee that there won't be a civil war. But all he did was empower the radical. I was going to call them psychopaths. I'll be gentle about my ad hominem attacks. He empowered the radical Shia populace to call it the far left or whatever. And then there was a revolution, and they had more power because he'd been supporting them. So don't support the radicals that you don't agree with. Pretty blatant.
That's not going to happen right now. My friend, she tweeted, the octogenarians leading congressional Dems, Pelosi, Clyburn, etc., see her as a moderating voice between them and the radical left who think AOC isn't leftist enough. They see her as a way to reach this segment, especially younger voters, who will temper with age. The point is they see the young people, and as they grow up, they will become normal Democrats is kind of the play. I mean, This is Clyburn's like the kingmaker, right? Like in the Democrat Party, people may not realize it, but Jim Clyburn is really a kingmaker. People that are going to run for leadership or whatever, they need to go and get Clyburn's blessing, right? If Clyburn and Pelosi are looking at AOC and saying, hey, this is the person that can reach young people, and Libby was saying last night or the other night, she's incredibly relatable. She gets onto her IG and she puts together IKEA furniture. She cooks and she gets, thousands and thousands of people watching her. She's incredibly relatable and she's incredibly charismatic. She is a force to be reckoned with, and it's a serious thing. Like, people really need to think about the fact that not only is AOC incredibly well positioned to actually become a senator, but also that's where the energy in the Democrat Party is. Like, I've been saying that there's a civil war in the Democrat Party since November of last year when Trump won. It was probably a little bit before that, but I've been saying that there's a big problem in the Democrat Party. The people that have money, the donors, they don't want to give money to Zohran Mamdani. They don't want to give money to AOC because their policies will end up hurting the rich people, right? The rich people have been Democrats. They've been given to Pelosi and to your Schumers and blah, 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 and they've been reliably normal Democrats. But the young people don't need those big donors because they get small donations from a lot more people. And it looks like that AOC and the far left are actually winning. They're going to take over control of the party.
Last question about the Senate, since we're on the topic. What do you guys think about Thomas Massey taking Mitch McConnell's
Thomas Massey's
seat?
in the House.
What if he can run against take Mitch McConnell's seat for the Senate now?
I don't think. I mean, is there really any talk of that happening at this point? I mean,
someone started begging for it, and I thought maybe we could put some momentum behind it.
I think it's much more likely that he'd run for governor of Kentucky before he'd run for U.S. Senate.
The thing about the Senate and AOC, we have to have her in here and interview this girl, this human, because you need wisdom to be in the Senate. That's the whole point, is people that can see beyond the box. They know what's outside. They understand the danger of new laws. That's why they have the veto power that they have. So I'd like to see somebody like T-Bone, Thomas Massey.
Senate races require a lot more fundraising than House races.
Yep.
I mean, House races are every 2 years. Like, there's people that have squeaked in with not very large war chests at all. Senate's a big ticket.
Especially because Thomas Massey doesn't get any AIPAC dollars, and he's pissed off all the special interest groups and such. So it'd be a lot more difficult for him to raise the necessary capital.
He would be completely reliant on individual donors, which, I mean, there's a pathway potentially, but so far in the Senate we haven't really seen it.
It's Massey's safe in his seat too. He's extremely popular with his constituents. So I mean,
they still haven't found somebody to a serious primary opponent for him. They keep saying they're going to try,
and Donald Trump wants to. Donald Trump, the president of the United States, the big bully pulpit, wants to primary Massey, but they can't find anybody that'll actually get any momentum against Massey because he makes his constituents happy. It's similar to what was going on with Ron Paul. Nobody could ever get Ron Paul out of his seat because Ron Paul made his constituents happy. He did what they wanted him to do, and Thomas Massey does the same thing. So it doesn't matter that Donald Trump, tweets mean things at him. Thomas Massey is very safe, and so if you're in a safe seat, what's the benefit for trying to go to the Senate?
More
I understand
power.
that. Well, I mean, is it really?
Yeah, the senators have more power than the representatives.
Would he have more power? You think?
Technically, He'd be pretty influential in there, talking to the other senators when they all get together.
He's already one of the guys in the House that will stymie bills if he doesn't want to. I mean,
yeah.
You know?
The issue was trying to so I know this district very well, actually, Thomas Massey's district. I lived in Kentucky for most of my life, and I was around a lot of Kentucky politicians, during COVID especially, because that's how I started, was trying to fight all the COVID mandates from the draconian governor down there, Andy Beshear. And there are a lot of good politicians in or political minds in Thomas Massey's district, but they all align with Thomas Massey. Yeah. So it's really hard to find a good, viable candidate to go up against him. It seriously is. So I mean, he's in a good spot. They've tried to primary him in the past. Even last cycle, I believe President Trump said he was going to primary Thomas Massey, and that didn't work out either. So I don't know.
He had at least 78% of the vote.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Huge number.
It actually was higher than it was the time before.
Well, thanks for talking about Thomas Massey joining the Senate.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. Well, let's jump a little bit further. Talking about this shutdown and everything here, which sort of honestly, I think this is a good part of the shutdown here. I'm not going to complain about any part of this. Firings of federal workers begin as White House seeks to pressure Democrats in government shutdown.
I keep getting what I voted for.
Yeah, and we actually got confirmation in a court filing of who has been terminated. And keep in mind, these are not furloughs. These are terminations, reduction in force notices that went out today across 7 departments: Commerce, Education, Energy, Health and Human Services, Housing and Urban Development, Homeland Security, and Treasury. Several thousand employees. What is the downside, guys?
None. I'm so glad my tax dollars aren't paying these freaking dumb midwits to do nothing, man. I'm so glad. If the Democrats are causing the government shutdown, I'm now a Democrat. Whoever's actually behind the shutdown, I identify with that party. So God bless whoever's shutting down the government.
Yeah,
I'm so sick of these people, man.
A potential downside would be that it creates a large unemployment sector of people that have government ties that could form a rogue government. This is what happened in Iraq when we ousted the Ba'ath Party. They were
my God, you're talking dark stuff over there, man. But these people are, let's say a lot of them are very incapable of doing anything. The reason that they worked in the positions they were doing is because they didn't actually have to do anything. So I don't see them forming a rogue government anytime
Middle-aged
soon.
Black Brigade.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't. I wouldn't think these people would be the brains of it if there was something forming like a communist revolution. Like you see Antifa as kind of the street soldiers of this movement, this deep, whatever it is, this dark. I think they want a geopolitical technomancy. They want like a communist technocracy that comes out of the World Economic Forum, global control. Everybody, if you act out of order, your bank account gets shut down. They want a communist revolution to put this into place, and that these unemployed government people might be roped into that. Think that now at least I have something to live for, because that evil MFer over there in government, blame Donald Trump thing.
I don't think those employees are going to really do shit. I mean,
I think it's even worse. I don't even think they're going to form a counter government. They're all going to form podcasts, and it's going to be it's going to be awful. It's like this nightmare, just flooding the zone with just oh no. And maybe we can form some sort of federal jobs program where they can pick up trash or something, just to keep them away from podcast mics. It's already bad enough that I have a mic. Do we really need all these bureaucrats with pot? Oh my gosh. LARPing like it's NPR. Yeah.
Inside the DMV.
I back Tate.
Literally.
My experience.
I guess getting new jobs would be a good idea. Creating a new industry for whoever. It doesn't really matter what their political alignment is if it's in the technological sector.
Yeah, after Trump, sends the National Guard in, clean Chicago up, there's gonna be a lot of trash left over because people are gonna be throwing stuff. So they could come in with their jumpsuits and their stick with a nail on it and just go to town.
Yeah, look, I mean, Ian, you talk about the liberal economic order and stuff all the time. If you actually are able to dismantle that, you're going to make unemployment. You are going to have to fire these people. If you want the government to shrink and be less involved in your life, you have to fire people. You are going to make unemployment. You can't have one without the other. You can't shrink the government and keep everybody employed at the government.
Well, we all know how this works. It's like these agencies don't want to lose their head count. They will do everything they can. They will make you, the designated stapler of the office just to keep you on the payroll, right? They don't want to reduce the head count. And now this is the perfect opportunity to do so. Take full advantage of it. I mean, personally, look, the biggest problem that I have with the shutdown is the fact that troops aren't being paid. I hate that part. I think we probably universally agree that that's a bad thing. However, there's no reason that Congress can't pass a standalone bill to pay the troops. So that's exactly what should happen. I tried to push the congressman on it last night, and maybe that's something that can happen, but the Senate just went home again. So I'm not sure that's.
I mean, this literally is a swamp being drained. I mean,
Yeah.
this swamp isn't like some CIA spook sitting in an office doing evil shit across the world. I mean, it is, but the swamp majority is that middle-aged black lady making $60K a year doing absolutely nothing. That is the swamp.
You know what they?
And that's what's being lost right now. So I'm in full support.
What they never talked about when they were like drain the swamp is what are we going to do with all the drainage? That's where I'm wondering where's all this drainage.
Are you referring to these people as drainage?
People, the drainage, yeah. DC drain. Because also what could happen is they get hired by corporations. Ultimately, we live in a corporatocracy right now where Alphabet and Amazon have almost the control as if they're their own governments. We don't really, because the U.S. military is stopping that in real time. But that's the problem with capitalism unchecked is that corporations get so big they become their own governments. And you saw with like the the East India Trading Company in the 1600s.
We have like the biggest government in history, or at least in American history right now. To call our system capitalism unchecked is just grossly wrong.
No, it's not capital. That's what happens. That's a problem of unchecked capitalism. But the corporatocracy that we have built up around us as a result of this unfettered capitalism in a lot of ways. I'm not saying I disagree.
Said it again, though. It's not. If you have all of the regulations and rules that we have, it's not unfettered capitalism. We don't have unfettered capitalism. We don't have laissez-faire capitalism. We have more regulations at this point in history than we have ever had in our entire country's history.
In the United States.
So to say that it's not say that it's unfettered or that it's not, that it's unchecked, like that is just totally wrong.
We get our materials from China's slave labor. It's not the United States that's running the show right now. It's this global capitalist, out of control capitalism system that has produced these mega corporations like.
You keep saying out of control, but China has more regulation than we do.
You don't have monopoly controls. You can't because they're multinational. You can't stop.
But China, if you don't play by China's rules, and China has more rules than the United States, China kicks you out. Like when you're in China, there's someone from the Chinese Communist Party that gets an office in your corporate headquarters, so that way they can monitor what you're doing. Not saying that I just don't understand why you're alluding to the idea that our world is like capitalism run loose and it's unfettered and there's no control and there's no regulation. And then you bring up the United States and China, both which have massive amounts of regulation.
Well, compared to 1900, I guess let's compare today to 1900.
1900, there was almost no regulation.
That's where they developed antitrust when they broke up Standard Oil, Rockefeller's Standard Oil. They broke it into like 6 oil companies because he was too. But they can't do it to Alphabet because it's national now. It's international. They can't. The U.S. government can be like, you can't work here if you don't break apart. But it's going to destroy the American economy if we get Google and all these companies out of the U.S. So we are in a corporatocracy. I mean, we live in a corporatocracy.
But there's tons of regulations on all these companies. The reason why Google has all the lawyers and lobbyists that they do is because the government regulates the crap out of them. The idea that there's no regulation. The only argument I have with you is when you say that or implying that it's unfettered capitalism, that it's companies doing whatever they want, and the government has no control, and that they're just raging and doing whatever, and there's no regulation or whatever. That's just downright wrong.
Well, Congress gave up the printing of the monetary supply. They don't control the monetary.
What does that have to do with Alphabet?
It's a private company that controls our monetary supply.
Alphabet?
No, the Federal Reserve.
Okay, but you were talking about Alphabet.
It's another private company that's like serving outside of the prowess of the United States. This is a bit of a tangent. I'm just bringing up potential outcomes of what could happen with these fired employees, that they could go work for a corporation that could get to the point that's like, we're the government now. You want your food delivered? Well, you're going to need our services. I'll change every search algorithm you ever type in the internet. You like your internet? Well, then you serve us. Like Verizon and Apple.
There's so many. You have so many options when it comes to who you're gonna get. Like if you don't like your internet, go with get a hotspot from T-Mobile or any of the other Wi-Fi companies. You don't like that, go to Starlink. I mean, you've got so many options.
And that's implying that entry level people, what they'll be, are going to start That's implying that they're going to become entry level people in those companies. They're not going to start dictating policy for those companies. I wouldn't think, and that's not a guarantee. And just because they get fired from the government, that doesn't guarantee they're going to go work for Google or DoorDash or whoever. But I think I think your theory is plausible, but I think you're giving way too much credit to just midwit government employees.
Yeah, I don't want to make it seem like either of these are probable. I don't think they are. I just think these are like, what are the possible downsides? Nick, you asked at the beginning of the segment. These are two possible negative outcomes of we empower the corporatocracy or we create a shadow government with all these fired employees.
Yeah, but we know for sure what's happening is government employees are being fired. So I think that in itself is a win. in, and we're talking about potential drawbacks that haven't even happened yet, and that probably won't even happen. So I think just in a risk-reward situation, them being fired from the government is in fact a reward.
Yeah, and any like disgruntled bureaucrat that would be competent anyway has already been poached by the private sector for the most part.
Right.
So this is just trimming the fat of people that are just hanging around that have been assigned tasks that are like somewhat proprietary knowledge to them. But like I said earlier, any competent people have been poached already. Like this is like just objective. Like this has happened already. Like right when Trump got in, this happened.
Did you catch what jobs were released in the article? They specify?
Not they just now, like less than, or maybe it was a little bit over 2 hours ago, they actually released who or the departments that lost the employees. I haven't seen anything specific yet, unless something came out since then. But there's a list right there. Department of the Treasury. I'm really hoping those are IRS agents. That would be fantastic. Don't know for sure just yet.
Yeah, it was. I read earlier. It was the Office of Civil Rights and Compliance. Lost about 75% of their employees to RIS.
Oh, in the IRS?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. All
that's
right,
why
man. Keep it shut down. Let's do more than shutdown stuff.
The shutdown's great. Everyone's furloughed, so it's like all the patriots are getting a little breather. Like this is great.
They're probably going to use AI to replace these people too, if the functions of what these people were doing.
Yep, and that's great. I mean, I want to ask this honestly: has anybody in this room experienced anything negative so far about the government shutdown? Like personally,
No.
Had any? No.
Yeah. I would say, my flight was delayed a little bit while in the air. So me being 300 something pounds was sitting in a little mini economy class chair for a whole extra hour on this freaking flight. But if I
Because the FAA guys are taking sick days.
Yes. But if I have to waste an hour in the air to get 60,000 government employees fired, I will live in the
Patriot.
That's a man.
That's what
right
it
there.
takes.
Loves his country.
We appreciate your sacrifice.
Thank you.
I also had a delayed flight a few days ago. The plane had hit a bird on the way in, so they were retrofitting. They were fixing the plane, and then they were like, "Hey, the pilots have to go home and go to sleep." But I don't know if that's because of the shutdown or not, or if it's just that's their schedule.
Oh,
Were you going to say, Tate? Were you going to say?
No, I was just saying, like, yeah, I'll go back for, a little extra coffee or whatever in the airport if that's what it takes to get these losers. If they, you know what, they can even start a podcast. If they all start one big podcast, just
please stop.
sync it all into
No.
one. I could tolerate that.
The government our part, okay?
Yeah, right.
If the government was like,
I'll
Tate,
suffer a little.
Thank you.
If you got some government, if Kristi Noem was like, Tate, we want to pay you $500,000 a year to keep doing what you're doing, would you take the money?
Yeah.
Wait, that would just be more government bloat.
Hey, government bloat benefits me. I'm in. My problem, I've maintained this position. My problem with corruption is that I'm not involved.
benefiting?
I'm not involved.
He's not a small government guy. He's a big government guy.
Big government.
So you're not getting paid $7,000 a post?
Not yet.
It's just Alex. Okay.
Yeah, the check hasn't cleared.
Well,
No, yeah, we love the shutdown. This is great.
Yep.
My girlfriend's furloughed. I get to see her. That's great. And then that might get annoying after some time, but we'll see.
Who is unfortunately not furloughed right now is Jimmy Kimmel, who is on TV again, apparently. He's down about 75% in the ratings since he came back on air. And, of course, he has a take on Antifa, and it goes just as you would imagine it does.
You understand. There's no Antifa. This is an entirely imaginary organization. There is not an Antifa. This is no different than if they announced they rounded up a dozen Decepticons. We've captured the Chupacabra, everyone. And then it was Trump's turn to ratchet up the rhetoric with fiery images conjured from no one has any idea where.
Nice.
Phil, Antifa doesn't exist?
I hate him. I mean, it's so ridiculous to say that. You can literally go to Rose City Antifa's website.
Yep.
They got Facebook pages, right? Like there's tons of people that have Antifa flags on their wall, and there you
Colin
go.
Kaepernick? It's Kaepernick. What's he doing?
So this is what he's doing nowadays.
Yeah.
Now,
There's an episode.
I had to look. I had to see if this was a real thing.
There's an episode of Shameless, which is I think it was a Cinemax show, where they were talking about Antifa was fighting with some gang. Antifa was portrayed as the good guy, but some woman came in. She's like, Antifa's beating up blah 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 outside. It's like, don't tell me they don't exist. And to tell your audience and the seals in the audience that just clap along with whatever he says. Like, they know that Antifa exists. They've seen shirts. They've seen, they've heard people talk about it. It's something that exists in pop culture. And to deny it is just insulting to everybody's intelligence. But I mean, like I said, I hate Jimmy Kimmel.
I was thinking,
you're not alone, brother.
Anti-fascism as a concept is one thing, and a lot of different movements can be anti-fascist. So, like, democratic republicanism is inherently anti-fascist.
Liberalism is
liberalism's anti-fascist. So these guys that say their movement is anti-fascist are actually a communist movement that's anti-fascist.
They're not actually anti-fascist.
I think they are.
They're not anti-fascist. They're some of the biggest fascists that I've ever met in my life.
Well, fascism's empowering the state through like an individual. It's
well,
like
they want to take over the state. They want to be the state.
They don't want no state. They want communism where there are no borders, there are no walls. That's what the anti-fascist. They're not fascist in that sense, but neither are we.
But they're fascistic.
I don't think so.
They're authoritarian
Well,
and violent.
They dismantle the government, then just leave us all alone after that? That's probably not the case.
No, it would install a vanguard. If they were to do it, they'd have like a small group of people that'd be like, we're just going to run it for a little while first, and then they'd end up staying in charge. Probably like deep state, people in the dark that we don't know about.
Well, go and look at what they did with Chaz or I think they had to start calling it CHOP because calling it an autonomous zone was a challenge to the sovereignty of the United States, and they didn't want to deal with that one. So they changed it to CHOP, but they installed their own little authoritarian government that would shoot you if you crossed into the zone without their permission.
And two people died.
And nobody was charged.
As soon as they set it up, and no one is ever charged.
When the Soviets had their revolution in the 1920, they set up what's called vanguardism. Was Lenin's idea? We're going to put a little vanguard in first, and that's what these guys were in CHOP. Was the vanguard, their attempt at putting a small group in that's going to make sure communism works for real this time.
One of the biggest issues they ended up having here and why it ended up running out of supplies is because the homeless people just came in and started taking everything off the table out of their little commune that they had built. So
Jimmy Kimmel saying Antifa as an idea is like amorphous. That maybe is his thread of truth that he thinks he's got going. But like Phil said, with the clapping seals, he's holding up 3 fingers and saying, I've got 5 fingers up right now. And people are just like, ah. Like Antifa is an actual organized movement. It's called Antifa. It's not even... It doesn't indicate that it's anti-fascist. It's just a thing called Antifa. I mean, maybe you guys know more than I do about the evidence. And Phil, you said that the culture war today really ran down the lists of like where funding is coming from.
Yeah, they try to because they want to claim that it's an idea because they can like put this propaganda up where they'll show like the Arlington Cemetery, National Cemetery. And they'll be like, oh, this is what, or they'll show like people in World War II and they'll be like, that was anti-fascist. I'm like, if you tried to explain to your great-grandfather like any of the policies that you support, he would be absolutely horrified.
Those same people, like even though the United States was allied with the Soviet Union at the time, those same people hated communism. Yeah. Right? These people that are saying, oh, these were anti-fascist, yes, but they were also anti-communist because just at the end of World War II, everybody knew how much of a danger the Soviet Union was. Everybody knew how bad the Soviet Union was, like right away. So the idea that your grandfather, your great-grandfather would have been on your side, he would have looked at you like you were the basket case you are.
He would have called you gay.
You would have been right.
You're saying the kids that are serving Antifa currently?
The people that end up putting up those pictures on the internet saying these guys were Antifa too. Well, you're probably an imbecile, and they would have hated your guts.
The legacy media wants to say that Antifa isn't an actual thing because they can't point to some leader like Osama bin Laden that is a front-facing figure that can be decapitated. That's part of the point. They don't want to have a front-facing leader that's doing, media hits and putting out propaganda and stuff because it's too easy just to take that person out. I think Andy No earlier pointed to the Weather Underground that happened, that leftist terrorist movement that happened years and years ago, and how easy it was to just take out the entire organization by taking out the public-facing leaders. So that's one of the arguments as to, okay, why you're not seeing people pulling strings in the background talking publicly. That's part of the idea.
Yeah, man, I don't know if the world, since the dawn of television, has ever seen an attempted revolution like this thing, this silent, in quasi-public-private move with just aggravated street violence and constant media manipulation to provoke the normal people into thinking that they're villains.
Probably have.
Yeah. And that's one of the biggest issues that I faced out there in Portland, and why the coverage out there was so effective, because these media outlets were not willing to go and document what was actually happening. They weren't there. I mean, you had every single night, all hours of the day, fireworks being launched off, fires set in the street, people screaming at 3 o'clock in the morning, people beating each other up. Mostly it being, one-sided. It's, the leftists getting away with it. They can beat up conservatives in the street. Conservative journalists such as myself. I was a victim of that as well. Alex would probably fare a little bit better than I did, just to be honest with you, in a protest like that. But they protest in quotation marks. Let me be very clear. But the media, when they were asking me questions, they were spouting these same talking points, saying that it's not actually happening. It's peaceful. They use the mostly peaceful line still, and it's like they're complicit in ignoring the problem. They want to act like there is no problem, but it seems like it's because they're afraid of these Antifa people.
We are.
Oh, don't be.
I mean, they're terrorists, dude.
If you're alone, if you wait in fear, they'll get you. So you have to stand up now and be brave and bring it down as a unity.
Well, and you made a good point too. Is like, I actually do agree. Like, this is slightly different what we're dealing with here because of social media, because of the internet, because these people are able to coordinate nationwide rapidly in real time because of the internet, and that does actually add like an extra element. Where previous sort of insurgent groups like this, and you can call them terrorist groups now because that's legally what they are. They would have been like very regional things, and it would require they have safe houses, but all the coordination would happen there, where it's like now they're able to coordinate online.
Yeah, and I was thinking this with the Soviet Union, the revolution of the Bolsheviks with Lenin is, what's his name? The emperor of Russia at the time. Tsar Nicholas, yeah. He was just sitting in his castle. Like, he had no idea what was happening in the world outside of his walls because he didn't have a TV that didn't exist. So the communists, Lenin and his men, were just able to go around and do stuff. But now we've got spy tech, like satellites watching where they're going, bank transactions being fed. And so it's this high-tech, super fast-moving conflict, I guess you would call it. Never seen anything like it before. And then now you're introducing artificial intelligence and deep fakes. It's exciting. I mean, not in a good way, but it's like exhilarating to watch it happening all around us. And we're influencing it. That's what's so cool about it, is like our words just generally day to day are like guiding people's momentum, where they're looking, how they're dealing with it.
Yeah. On the AI topic, I'm really curious about this because I think at one point Grok turned into what do they say, Mecha Hitler?
Mecha Hitler, yeah.
For a little bit. I'm a little worried about when AI starts becoming the arbiter of truth, which they're already trying to use it for. Whose truth is it? Like, when do you start to trust it to be the arbiter of truth?
You can see it on Twitter now. I mean, every reply is just like, Grok, is this true?
Is this true?
I mean,
dude, it's terrifying.
It
it's
really
the boomers,
is.
man.
Really is.
Because Grok lies to you, and then you have the dissolution of information where, like, there's a meme going around, but it's actually kind of salient, as like me using the 4K footage of me committing a crime, but putting the Sortor logo on there, so no one knows if it's real or not. And it's like, it's a meme, but it's also, you're sitting there like, oh yeah, people can do that now.
You saw the Jake Paul. Have you seen the Jake Paul deep fakes with him and Ricky Berwick? Hilarious. They get Jake Paul perfectly. Michael Jackson looks like real Michael. He talks like Michael. He's like he's dancing and talking. Look, Martin Luther King Jr.
You trust the ones that can pick out the homosexuals.
The gaydar. That's the test. That's
what you got to do. Like, bring that up so you can see.
There's one problem is
you trust the AI that can pick out the gays.
Because right now they can
Look at
depict
that.
Stephen Hawking on a NASCAR track racing other cars. The gaydar is going to be the real test of AI, because this could be useful for DC staffing, because it's a big problem.
Sure.
So
like the dating apps, they'll be like,
the
oh
dating
yeah,
apps.
we'll just set you right up.
Grok, which way does this guy swing? That'd be really handy. That would be nice to know.
If they can measure the way you walk and when you take a dump, they're going to know how gay you are. And then, but the guy that knows that doesn't need to let the AI know that he knows, and the AI will be telling you one thing, but the guy that really knows, is like, who's in control of the AI? This freaking
who is in control?
Sam Altman. I mean,
dude,
ChatGPT.
He had this weird comment yesterday where he said that he would never spend $250,000 on a car, and then but he's driving around in a Koenigsegg, which is like $4 million. It's like, I don't know if this guy is who he is, or he was on Tucker not too long ago. I don't know if you guys saw this, where he was on Tucker Carlson, and Tucker started asking him questions about his murdered the whistleblower, and he like got really hot and bothered by the whole thing. It was awesome.
He had like a 5-part series in San Francisco where it was just him making the case of why he's not the Antichrist.
Yep.
When you have to do a 5-part lecture series on it, then you're going to draw some criticism. You're going to draw some skepticism.
Buying it.
I don't know him, and he's in control of a nasty power, so obviously there's criticism there. I'm not going to hate on that. It's just that there is a guy that is in control of a device like AI, is like a nuclear weapon.
He's one of the most powerful people in the world.
Yeah, and if you cross him, you're just going to get Grok calling you gay all day, like with the gaydar. You're not going to be able to defend yourself because you pissed him off.
You'd be like, no, I'm not. Then it seems like you're on the defensive in your action. Obviously, you're gay at that point.
Then you got to do a 5-part lecture series on why I'm not gay, and then... I mean,
why AI outed me incorrectly. In
we're cooked. It's over. It's actually.
I love AI, dude. I've been obsessively watching all the Sora stuff, and it's like, thank you to Sora for putting the word Sora on the videos because they don't have to do that legally. I don't think at this point, but
is that on all of them? Is that going to be?
I'll scroll past real videos because they're boring to me now to find the AI ones that are so entertaining of Tupac Shakur hanging out with Einstein, and then they get into a boxing match and like. It's like they're really there.
There was some going around of protesters yelling at police, and they were police in fatigues. And one of my buddies posted it up to a chat that I'm in. He's like, "Is this real?" And I'm like, and everybody was like, "I don't know, man. I can't tell. It looks real," and blah blah blah. And they were saying some weird stuff, and I had seen it before. And I was like, "Guys, look, Sora, like that's the watermark. That's the new thing." But Sora's good enough to fool people. If you have a realistic like scenario, right? If you have him prompt something that's realistic, that doesn't have silly phrases or whatever. Most of the stuff I've seen on Sora is kind of ridiculous stuff. The Stephen Hawking falling into doing wrestling or grinding.
Daytona 500.
Yeah, that kind of stuff is obviously that's easy to.
I will never look at Stephen Hawking the same way again after the Epstein Island stuff. Yeah. I don't think I can possibly do it.
Yeah, and that's a weird thing too, because it's like, was that his choice or was he just kind of just brought there? Wait, no.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and like, what really could I digress?
You made a good point about people putting a Sora logo on a video to make it look fake. That's another layer of the psyop.
Yeah.
Dude, we are like 6 weeks away from total immersion. It feels like, whatever that means, but I'm at the point now where I don't know the difference. I know Tupac's dead. I know he's supposed to be dead.
Supposedly
dead. It's like, it's real. It is real. And obviously, video games are real life. They're just a real life in a box, and you can forget the difference, but it's still real.
Yeah, I think it's beyond terrifying. I mean, it's going to be much easier for foreign governments to launch psyops on U.S. citizens here very shortly. I mean, it's already. Look at Facebook. Facebook. They can already. I mean, the older folks. I love them. A lot of good people out there, but my inbox is full, even from my parents, of stuff that they found on Facebook, like fake AI crap that doesn't even look real to most of us, let's just say.
Yeah.
But the older crowd is buying that up so quickly.
Yeah.
Wait until they get the shadows and the movements right on the AI stuff, and I mean, it is going to be really bad really fast.
Alex, are you getting guys that are getting caught like saying, are they using AI in any ways? Are they able to utilize AI as an excuse?
Well, no. We've actually utilized AI, and we've had some dumb boomer predators, even sex offenders sometimes, fall for AI photos. Like the guy today who went to go meet who he thought was a 13-year-old girl is actually a 22-year-old guy that works for me who put his face in an AI thing to make himself. I mean, it looks like a 13-year-old girl, but I mean, we would all know it's AI. But he straight up fell for it, wanted to have sex with this kid. So we already have pedos falling for it. But as for pedos telling us they're using AI, not yet. Not yet.
When you do, is it considered entrapment if you pretend to be a young girl and then they come?
No, because they're the ones initiating the whole thing. So we don't bring up sex first. We don't bring up hanging out first. We don't bring up really anything that can be, that cause them to go commit a crime. We just kind of hang back and let them do the talking. Like I always tell my employees, I'm like, hey, man, you don't got to convince anybody of these people to be a pedo. If they're a pedo, they're going to let you know pretty quickly, or it might take a while. But, we never initiate.
They've actually started to prosecute on that. I was looking for a newer case on this, but I haven't found it yet. Yeah. Where they are charging people. I think there was a Florida sheriff or something. I had to find the article. I'm doing this on the fly, but where they arrested somebody. There we go. That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we're using AI-generated child porn. And so they are arresting people for this now.
Dude, this concerns
Seems
me
like that kind of guy.
because I hate child pornography. It's I think that's like horrific, but I'm like obsessed with freedom of information and for people to have access to their own autonomous make and do whatever you want in your room alone if it's not harming other people.
Well, I think the criminal intent to exploit children is what needs to be prosecuted with that.
Hey, Mike.
I think the criminal intent of wanting to exploit children is why they need to be prosecuted with the AI child pornography. Because, like I said earlier, this is just what I've seen. Look, if we've all seen porn before, I don't watch porn. I haven't watched porn in 6 years. But if we've all seen porn, we'd all have sex with a female, right? We've all had sex with whatever porn we watch. So if those people are watching AI child pornography, it shows they are a very high risk to go offend against a child because that's what they're attracted to. So, and look, I mean, they don't really know if it's AI or not, or even if they think it is, whatever. They still have intent to exploit children, and they get off on the fact of child exploitation. That's why I think they need to be prosecuted.
Great answer.
I don't know, because it's not really a child. It's just the video game of a cartoon.
They're a danger, though.
Yeah. It's the fact that they would do something like that. I mean, the sex offender today that we caught, he's a sex offender for a reason because he would do something to a child. And a lot of sex offenders we catch are. And a lot of people we get, I mean, God, even if they're not sex offenders, most of the people we get are not sex offenders, but they've all done stuff to kids before. And our fake account is the tip of the iceberg with all the crap they've done. So it's the same thing with the AI child pornography. If they're caught watching that, that's very unlikely that's the only thing they've ever done pertaining to children.
Yeah, I mean, would you make the argument that if they're talking to one of his decoys that there wasn't an actual victim in the case?
Right, just criminal intent, I think.
No, I wouldn't take it that far. If they're actively pursuing another person, that's different than watching a video.
But I think being in the virtual cuck chair is in fact trying to go after another person. I think.
Well, the reason I brought it up is because we were talking about the people that wanted to see a public execution for Charlie Kirk's death as like just they wanted that satisfaction of seeing this guy. And I was like, well, what if you could deep fake the torture of this killer and you could watch in your own room this guy just being brutally tortured and get your rocks off that way? And everyone was like thinking about the implications. But if it's illegal to make your own deep fakes because it represents a crime, that's a dangerous path. Step by step, our ability to recreate environments could be stripped away until you can't even say fuck.
I mean, I don't know, man. We had a guy we caught in Lano, Texas earlier this year, Chris Hannigan. He's going through the court process right now. He kind of looked like Tucker Carlson a little bit. We called him the Tucker Carlson pedo. But
no.
Super liberal. He would definitely not like Tucker Carlson. But he created, I wouldn't say it was like, I mean, it was definitely more cartoonish, but he put into Chat GPT or whatever he used, he took our dequoy photo, made him naked, and put like just a dick sticking out on him and sent it back to us. I mean, he didn't get charged with the AI child because it wasn't realistic looking like at all. But it was a little bit more than law. It was kind of in between lolly, if you're familiar with that, like kind of hentai stuff and real stuff. But I mean,
yeah, lolly, yeah, I know.
Yeah, but he's having all the stuff in his mind. He regularly creates this stuff of little boys naked, and he went to go try to have sex with one when we caught him. So I think it'll just lead into that stuff.
I guess if you took a picture of a baby or a kid and you just took the head and you photoshopped the naked body, that would also be a crime.
Yes,
I would think so.
Yeah.
Because it's exploiting, but that's a real baby's face. If it's a completely fake construct by a machine, oh man. These things are going to become sentient too, these creatures that we're constructing.
I mean, you don't know that. You can't be sure that
from the future, Phil.
You can't be sure that they're going to become sentient.
They'll think they're sentient if they think at all.
All right. And you know what, guys? If you like the stream so far, make sure you hit that like button, smash that like button, and subscribe. We're going to move on to the super chats now. Got a bunch of them here. A lot of them about Phil and Ian. You guys have been controversial tonight. Even more controversial than this guy. I didn't think that was particularly
We're on
easy
YouTube,
to
so
do
I've been very nice to Tim to preserve his channel, okay?
I'm sure he appreciates that one. All right, this one we got from Kilgannon84. Trump made the 100% tweet after the market closed. Bitcoin dumped 15K. I think we see a bigger dump when the markets open Sunday night into Monday. Well, the Bitcoin market doesn't close.
Right,
so.
but it does work relative to the U.S. market, the dollar market. So if there's another dip in the S&P, you'll see Bitcoin. Well, you might see Bitcoin go up.
Yeah,
I bought it tonight, so I'm hoping that's the case.
Oh, Bitcoin.
It'll eventually go back up anyway.
Yeah, right. Well, like everything else.
Yeah.
The regular market. No, stocks only go up now. That's pretty much the rule of the U.S. government.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's see here. All right, from Trent Lomelino. Lomelino? I'm so sorry, Trent. My birthday is tomorrow. I'll be 35. Phil, what's some tips to learn how to scream and not kill my throat? I listen to so much metalcore, I need help.
Drink a lot of water. Stay hydrated. There's a DVD out there called The Zen of Screaming by Melissa Cross. I'm in the first. I'm in them. She's a great instructor. There are people out there that can teach you how to do it, but I would go with Melissa Cross's Zen of Screaming. You can get it on the internet. Just Google Zen of Screaming.
Have you ever put aloe in your water?
No.
I started doing it, man. It's amazing. Like all that gunk in your lung rides out on it.
Yeah, I'm not a believer in tonics for your vocal cords because if any fluid gets into your voice box or into your windpipe, you're going to cough anyways. So I've always been the kind of dude that puts the kibosh on that stuff. I'm like, no, that actually doesn't help your voice. You need to think of your vocal cords like an athlete thinks of an injury. If you have swollen vocal cords, what you need is rest. You need to drink water, and not because of anything that's going to get on your vocal cords, but you need to drink water so you stay hydrated. But if you sprain your ankle, you pull a muscle, you have to rest. That's what fixes it. Your vocal cords are just like any other muscle or any other tissue in your body. If you injure them, if they're inflamed, what fixes them is time and rest. So,
well, I don't know if this really works for the metalcore side of things, but I do know that Charlie Kirk drank Mint Majesty tea with 2 honey. That was a very famous thing, actually, because he spoke so much and yelled a lot at during debates and such. So he would drink like multiple of these a day. That was apparently his secret. So I don't know if that helps.
That's good.
All right, next one here, Evan for US. Any chance y'all could see if y'all could potentially have Mark Goloby of Texas on the show? He seems like a nice guy and candidate. He's running for the governor of the great state of Texas. Appreciate it. Well, I don't know who makes that call, but it's not me.
Yeah. I'll take the name down.
And Lisa, if you're listening. What was it, Mark?
If Lisa's watching. It's Mark Goloby of Texas. I'm hoping it's Goloby, I don't know. Running for governor of Texas. Yeah, we'll get and talk about it.
Thanks.
All right. From Sailor Motoko? Motoko? Ian, did you see that graphene just broke a fundamental law of physics? In ultra-clean graphene, researchers found that electrical conductivity increased, thermal conductivity dropped.
Yeah, man. You're going to be able to build sensors that can sense your brain waves with that material. It's so electrostatically sensitive. It's just a challenge is getting it to be clean. Like they say, you don't want any ripples in the product. So I don't know, you need to use some sort of waveguide to produce it into clean, flat sheets. Also, I go on and on about it, but yeah, we'll figure it out either through sound or some other waveguide to make sure that it's flat when it lands.
All right. From very specific questions here, guys. I like it. Scribbly Bear says, apparently if you brew a 50-50 blend of Phil's and Ian's coffee together, you'll receive godlike powers. I'm too afraid to add Mary's blend in there.
But then you'll be able to speak to the dead.
Bring them back to life.
We'll just start cast brew test strips to make sure that you have no cuts of other blends in there. It's got to be pure cast brew. It has to be. And you can blend, whatever coffee you want together, as long as it's cast brew.
Sure, a little graphene dream in your cast brew blend. I like it.
A little spice things up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, why not?
You should see me and Phil when the camera's off, man.
I don't know if I want to. What are you alluding to here?
You just use your magic.
It's a beautiful thing. I'm going to leave it there. It's a beautiful thing. I don't want to say what it is, but it's very beautiful.
Magical.
People think
That's after show type
People
stuff.
think that because me and Ian will go back and forth, we don't like each other. But people think that about like Alad as well. Like I'll go back and forth with Alad. I get along with him great. Like just because we can have a discussion doesn't mean we dislike each other.
They're like a bickering old couple. We love it.
On TV we are, yeah. In real life, we're
I'm
just like super chill. Like,
I don't feel like I'm bickering with Ian. I'm just trying to understand what he's saying.
It's like you're at a Golden Corral at earshot. There's like an elderly couple. They're clearly in love, but they're going at it, and it's just a beautiful thing.
Phil's a lot of wisdom. I feel like he's a warrior that's learning magic as time goes on. Forcing, I'm like, magic spell, Phil magic, and he's like, give me my axe.
It's like, what? What are you talking about?
And you're like, you can create slashing damage with magic. Anyway, I'm getting out of it.
All right, yeah, we're going right here.
All right. From Michael McHenry, per baby cast trad, we're in delivery. Her first, third. Phil announced the preg in February, so Phil could welcome To be determined, James McHenry, named for our founding father relation. Make babies great again. I agree.
There we go. Make more babies. Congratulations. We appreciate when you are sending us super chats from the delivery room. We love to hear about babies. Now that you have this baby, as soon as your wife says, let's do it again, make another one. So
let's go.
There you go.
Welcome to the world, Patriot. We have a lot of work to do. So,
right.
Get to
work.
work.
A lot of work.
All right. From Apple Boy. I've been in new construction career for 15 years. We talk about this a lot, but no, these robots will never in our lifetime be able to handle the types of situations that construction, HVAC, electrical are in.
Okay, boomer.
Oh.
Yeah. I've heard this from people that say, like, because of, like, the nature of, you know, not every situation is the same. Like, they can't learn that for this particular situation. But in reality, these things can learn a lot more than we think they can. I think no one knows. And if you think and act like you know, you're gonna have your ass handed to you because you're eventually gonna be wrong about something. So
I mean, my dad's a commercial HVAC tech, and I've gone to work to him growing up as a child. And it seems like it's pretty far down the road. I mean, yeah, you see the robot picking up items in a house and stuff. I mean, something like commercial HVAC or electrical work is a lot more complicated.
I understand what you're saying, but robots now can navigate, you know, the most complex traffic that you can throw at it. And that's what a Tesla does, right? They're full self-driving, navigates traffic, which is not just a static thing. It's moving constantly. So it's making decisions and it's updating as it goes, right? If you're talking about HVAC, like, you could teach the thing principles, and I'm not saying that it's there yet, but you could teach a robot the principles and give a robot the architectural layout of the house, right? The blueprints. And then I don't see why it wouldn't be able to say, okay, this is the most efficient way to set up the HVAC system. And so, you know, we're going to go ahead and do this and do that. And it just doesn't seem far-fetched to me because of how complex roads and moving cars and all of those, like all that stuff. If cars can drive now, right? If you get a robot that's shaped like a car right now, I don't see why there are any other things, or there are many other things that AI can't do. I mean, right now, computers do math better than any human, right? The most complex problems you can come up with, they do math better than any human. Most calculators can do math better than most humans. Or any calculator can do math better than most humans.
But like the question here with the Apple Boy was asking, or seemed like he was saying, yes, it'll happen, but not within our lifetime. What's your take on the timeline? What do you guys think?
It's very strange. Like, I think
it seems like the timeline is speeding up.
Yeah, it gets faster, quicker.
Yeah,
we're accelerating,
right?
And the acceleration rate is actually getting higher too. So it's accelerating faster. So it could happen in 2 years, because what'll happen is the AI will develop other AI to do the task, and it'll be like, well, you need an adapter that fits onto the Optimus's arm that can stretch out and curve around, you know, and it'll design its own hardware. Then you'll see like an exponential jump in productivity.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna make sure I get this right. There we go. Thank you for specifying. Soupy. First off, my name is pronounced Soupy. Think pseudonym, psycho, etc. I love seeing Nick Sortor, not a journalist, thank you, on the show. And Tate, what an absolute young patriot. I love him doing TWC.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Patriot.
I, too, am a Tate fan.
Yeah, Tate's
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Shit, dude, that guy's
All right. 7 Legion Studios. Hi, Alex. Just curious, what was Tyler Robinson doing on a roof 200 miles from his home with a gun if he wasn't there to shoot someone, in your opinion?
I don't know. None of the stories really make sense, but, you know, from what I understand, he supposedly had this gun in his pant leg, which the gun being 4 foot 1 inches long, with him being 150 pounds and not too tall, doesn't really make too much sense to me. I think MK Ultra is a very real thing, but look, I think it's plausible he could be the shooter, but I think both the trans mafia and Israel both had good motive to do it. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah, and by the way, Soupy, I wasn't actually offended by that. I'm just joking. All right, let's see here. Zoidberg, cartoon CP is still CP. Changed my mind. I don't really. I mean, I think the only person here that disagreed with well, cartoon CP. Okay, you know what? I'll just let you speak on that.
What resolution? If it's a
Where's
red
the
block
line?
and a yellow block bumping into each other, and they're like, the yellow block is a baby, the red block is an adult. Is that illegal? Like Atari graphics? No, obviously, because it's just 2 blocks. So how realistic?
Because you have anime stuff that don't people watch anime porn?
Yeah, a lot of lolicon. Yeah.
Is there anything illegal about that?
No, there's not.
Okay.
But it's like very, very cartoonish. And yeah, there is a line that has to be drawn somewhere, and the line isn't going to be perfect. But I mean, I would put all those people watching lolicon on a watch list, though. I mean, I think they're all pedophiles. You know what I'm saying? Like, the fact that
you can weed a lot of people out that way.
Right. And the fact that we're catching people who watch lolicon, I mean, I think that explains everything.
Yeah.
Alex, do you ever use the term pedo roast instead of pedophile?
No.
In Greek, philia is a type of love that's like the love of friendship, and eros is a sexual love, erotic love. So I think they mask the movement by saying we're just pedophile, we just love, we're just friendship, when in fact they're erotically seeking erotic.
All right, we got Gonfall here. It is so. This one's about you, Ian. Again, it's so obvious Ian is playing devil's advocate, so people can learn more about the implications. He's a really good actor. Is this true, Ian?
Yes.
Okay, you're one big psyop.
No, but I'm good at psyoping, that's for sure. But I did want to point out the 2 potential, negative outcomes from if the government employees all lost their job. Didn't mean to insinuate that it's going to happen in any way. Thank you for noticing.
I think you're probably the only one on that train. Let's see if you won anybody over with that theory that you had there about a shadow government popping up from useless bureaucrats that were fired.
The GOP versus the DMV.
They just make us wait in really long lines and demoralize us.
Yeah, no
You forgot your paperwork. Oh, okay, have the country, fine.
All right, from Kevin Egolf. I think what Alex does is amazing. He's probably the best predator catcher out there. Friends and myself are starting our own pred catching org. Alex, what are your best tips for a newcomer?
Man, well, the super chat actually has to go to me for me to give any tips on that. No, but, man, dude, look, I would say the best thing to do, you have to have heart for it, man. It's not hard to go confront a predator. It's not hard to go pretend to be a kid online, but it takes a lot of actual effort. It takes a lot of stomach for it, and you got to see it all the way through. So don't just do this just to throw a guy on the internet and not care about his prosecution, because they will go do it again. Exposure does not stop them from doing it. Not even a jail cell does, obviously, but as evidenced by the guy we caught today. But, I would just say have a camera and have some nuts and just go do it all the way through. Don't half-ass it. I know it's cliche, but that's really the best advice.
All right, World Eater 359. I watched Zen of Screaming.
There you go.
Does help. But mostly I think people think too much when they do, which actually fries your vocals more. From Auburn, Massachusetts here.
Auburn, nice. I mean, maybe look, people can get too, focused on too inwardly focused and injure themselves that way. But really, what you're trying to do is avoid an injury, because it is using, it's just human tissue. Your vocal cords are just like any other kind of human tissue. So you want to make sure that you get enough rest. You want to make sure that you get enough water. When
you push the breath out, do you push it from your lower core or from your chest?
Diaphragm.
Or your throat. You use the diaphragm.
Yeah, your throat shapes it. You shape your throat and then you push with your diaphragm.
Do you think anybody can just become like a super good have the stamina? Do you think anybody can just have the stamina to work up the stamina to become like a heavy metal singer? Or do you think genetics play a part in that?
So if it's your screaming, the voice, the sound, like the sonic qualities of your voice are heavily dependent on your genetics. Mm-hmm. But you can do a lot when it comes to like shaping your mouth, your throat, your mouth to get certain sounds. When it comes to the tenor of your singing voice, or the what your singing voice sounds like, there are just some people that your voice just doesn't sound pleasing to the human ear. Yeah. They will never be able to really sing. Now, they can learn techniques and they can learn to sing better, but there are some people that are just never going to have a pleasing sounding voice, So
do you do specific exercises like to build up everything there?
Oh yeah, there's exercises that it's literally the stuff that's on the Zen of Screaming. I've been doing that for 20 years.
Okay.
But it's all diaphragm work. It's all making sure that my facial muscles and the muscles in my neck are strong, because you have to be able to support holding certain shapes. You're in certain, basically, it's like holding a pose. So that way you can make sure you're hitting the notes and keeping on the note, or make sure that your scream is being held out as long as you want it, and stuff like that. So it's a very athletic thing to do, singing is. So
interesting.
So we're going to try to hit a few more here. We got David Tate. Following IRL tradition, my wife and I welcomed our twins to the world today at 10:26 a.m.
Congratulations,
Congratulations,
sir.
David.
Welcome, twins.
Two Patriots.
Yeah, 2 Patriots
Let's go.
today. Look at that. We will raise them. Oh, you moved it out of the way. I gotta finish this. This is cool. We will raise them to love the Lord and to love America. God bless you all at Timcast. I love these guys.
Teach them how to shovel and mow the lawn early.
Yeah, get them 10 years old. Get them out there pushing the mower
earlier. Just
okay. I'm with it.
The sooner you can go ahead and just sit back and relax and watch them work,
and pay them a little something. Get that capitalistic that ethos burning early.
All right, I'm not your buddy guy says, late to the party, but am I the only one getting bombarded with leftist accounts lying on Twitter? This is not a new phenomenon.
No,
this has been
every day.
honestly been going on for 2 decades
They're
now.
pretty truthful up to the last 2 months, man. I don't know
what changed. The liberals started lying all of a sudden.
The algorithm shifted last month, and I don't know if you guys know but the Twitter algorithm in late October, November is going to switch to Grok, where you can tell Grok, change my algorithms to make less of this kind, and I want just rock and roll. And then they'll just give you all rock, and then you'll be like, okay, stop with that algorithm, Grok. Now go back to what it was before. And all that.
Just no Indians, none. No more Indians.
There'd be
no anymore.
There'd be no post on your Twitter feed.
It would just be Nick Sortor.
Man, my feed is moving so slow now.
Real.
Yeah, okay, all right. Let's see. Will Matrix, those who keep calling themselves Antifa but aren't really part of Antifa need to remember that the real Antifa says liberals get the bullet too.
They certainly do. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't fall in line with them. It doesn't matter if you side right or left. You're an enemy.
Yep.
All right, from Hal Gailey, capitalism doesn't include state-created corporate persons or a presumption of no liability for bad actors in the market. Read Mises.
I need to hear that one more time.
Okay.
Say that again. Thank you.
Capitalism doesn't include state-created corporate persons or a presumption of no liability for bad actors in the market. Read Mises.
Yeah, we're in a corporatocracy for sure. Like a corporation being considered a person is antithetical to a free market of any kind.
Wasn't that Citizens United? Wasn't that what
when corporations became people?
Yeah.
I don't know when that happened.
No, that was about the First Amendment. That was saying that people that basically you can spend whatever amount of money you want on promoting your ideas. So that's actually a property rights case. So, but yeah,
Okay,
shout out
let's
to
see
Mises,
here. Okay,
by the
yeah. Zernix. Geez, you people are making it difficult today. I think there needs to be a discussion on how or why corporations exist. Could they exist without government? How does a business become incorporated?
No, they couldn't exist without government. The whole point is to offer legal protections for the individual by incorporating. So you incorporate to protect yourself from being liable for certain things. So.
I just did some light reading on it, and corporations used to be considered, it was a different definition of the word, and then at some point they morphed into what we know today as the modern corporation. But back in the day, to incorporate, I wish I could recall this. Yeah. It was different. It was the corporate because there's corporatocracy, which is what we live in, and then there's corporatism, which is what used to exist in the 1850s. We're not corporatism. Corporatism was where like different segments of society would come together and incorporate, like the mining guild and the jewelry guild, and they would all come together to create like government influence. That was corporatism. But now it's morphed into this system where corporations have kind of self-govern in a lot of ways.
Cool. Well, awesome. Guys, this has been a fun show. I really appreciate the invitation to sit here in for Tim. I believe he's back next week, correct? Maybe? I mean, you never really know with Tim. I mean, are the air traffic controllers working around here? Do we know?
I guess
I have no idea. Yeah. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, he should be back in this chair here next week. And I'm Nick Sortor. I'm on X mostly because the other platforms like to ban me all the time. I guess it takes a little too hot sometimes. It's X at Nick Sortor. Really appreciate everybody watching today. Alex,
Well, thank y'all so much for having me on. It was a pleasure meeting some of y'all and / seeing some of y'all again. If y'all want to find us, it's Predator Poachers on YouTube. That's PREDATOR space POACHERS. Just type it in. You'll find our channel. Go sub. And yeah, I really appreciate it.
Ian.
Thanks for coming, man. At Ian Crossan, you'll find me across the internet. Follow me on X, YouTube, Instagram, everywhere else at Ian Crossan. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me, guys. This has been really fun. See if we got to get Tate Brown.
It's weird like all the time, but yeah, super fun. So sick being with Alex. I'm a huge fan. So super sick. Keep up the great work, Gideon. I love Gideon. He's fantastic. So yeah, follow me everywhere at Real Tate Brown. We held down the morning show all week, so go to the Culture War, check out those interviews. Like I said yesterday, it was really spicy. One with the Captive Dreamer. Go check that one out. Yeah. Phil?
I am Phil That Remains on Twix. The band is All That Remains. Available today. I did a collaboration with Zillion. It's available on Spotify. You can go check it out. It's ZILLION. The song is called Cannibals. I'm really psyched about the song. It came out really well. All That Remains you can find on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Pandora, Deezer, YouTube. And don't forget, The Left Lane is for Crime.
All right, guys. And don't forget the Culture War live next weekend, Saturday, October 18th. Doors open at 2 p.m. Show 3 to 5. It's a damn good time. I've been. Just make sure you get there with enough time. The venue does fill up. Make sure you have your tickets. I would say they'll definitely sell out. This will be a fun one. Guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We'll be back next week. Have a great weekend.